Okay. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna be making some points. L.A.R. movement still moving. Thank y'all, whoever comes and whoever listens and likes and shares. And I'm just gonna start speaking something. I got a call from a friend of mine that listens to this platform, and I was supposed to be doing a different live, and I'm probably gonna hook that up next week with Gabe. Um, but she was talking about the Lonnie Love situation. She's like, "Did you listen?" I was like, "No, not really." And in waiting or whatever, I started listening. Yeah. What's up, Mauricia? So the Lonnie Love situation, not necessarily because of what she said or what she did, but it's like I had to look at Lonnie Love like, really? This is what we doing, huh? What's up, Roger? George, what's happening, fam? But, Aubrey, the thing about it was the arrogance that bothered me. Excuse me. And it was the narcissism that bothered me. And what I mean by that is she was very, very, very arrogant and narcissistic because the temptations. Let me get my hair right. Let me pat this thing down, get these waves. What's up, Kenny? So it was only one point of view. And I'm looking at Lonnie Love like, so these black men, they got money and they got power and they just gonna cheat on you. And I'm looking at Lonnie Love like, Lonnie, you never, I can't say never, but I didn't realize who Lonnie Love was years ago. But I looked at it again and I was like, that's Lonnie Love. Like Lonnie Love was in Soul Plane. She was the lady that was the other security guard with Monique. And she was bigger than Monique. And that's like, was that 16 years ago? So she was like around 32 then. And I started thinking to myself, like, what's up, Walsh? Like, Topaz, what's good? Epic, my bad. What's popping, man? Tank, Tyrone, Lil Rock. And I'm thinking to myself, Nicholas, I'm like, wait a minute. If guys were cheating on you, it's probably because you was overweight and you were morbidly obese. But you're gonna act like that wasn't a factor. So if you got cheated on by however many black men you were with, then that's because you were obese. And then Amanda Seals is sitting there, and she's sitting there kiki and cackling. And I'm like, what's up, Raiders? Lovely lady. Turn the camera on. You leave me alone. I am Alpha. What's good? But I'm looking at her like, wait a minute. This is a problem. Because now Amanda Seals, oh, she's speaking the truth. But Amanda Seals always fluctuates from, saying something that makes sense to saying something that doesn't make sense. What's up, Cut to the Chase, Little Big Nate, Houdini, Roger Report. She always, so one day she makes sense, the other day she's completely crazy, but she, let's do it. And I'm like, well, Amanda Seals can't talk because, yeah, see, I ain't gonna say it, George, but Amanda Seals is the same person as amen and her that all black men cheat, that said that Myron Rowe tried to sleep with her, but he didn't. The same person that was like, Russell Simmons was trying to get at me, but it sounds like he really didn't. So I was like, hold up. Amanda Seals, even though you're in a good shape, what's happening? Good shape, you still a nutcase. So I'm like, because of this Lonnie Love situation, I'm thinking to myself, are y'all just, the representation, some representation of black women in the media are represented as arrogant and narcissistic? Because I'm looking at it like, you keep talking about your perspectives. And then the other woman who wasn't black was like, all men cheat. Nuh-uh, we different because of slavery. And I'm thinking to myself, if you're going to bring slavery in as an argument why black men cheat, that would be a bigger argument for why white men were cheating, because they were married when they was raping slaves. They was outright cheating if you're going to bring slavery into it. right? But no, but she dating a white guy, so that don't count. So this is the irony of this is created. You know, I'm gonna talk a little something. Will 757 was happening? You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at it like, you know, from this perspective, and they say what black men don't do, black men should do, but we don't ever talk about what black women should do publicly or what black women should do privately. Because what winds up happening is black women get on TV and say this all the time, and I hear this far too often. You know what I'm saying? Far too often about what black men need to do, what black men ain't doing, what black men. You know what? You know what? I ain't gonna. I'm gonna set this up in this way. You know, George or Dana, if y'all want to, it's up to y'all. Because I was gonna set this table real quick, but because I got some talking points that bother me right now. But you know, that's the thing about it is, man, Cole, what's popping? You know, and when I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait a damn minute. Because Lonnie Love, he said, I cheat. Lonnie Love is sitting there saying this like from a perspective of ain't no good men. And something that you sent me to, George, like I said, I listened to it when the sister was talking on YouTube about, you know, why men like bees, right? And it's like, I get what you're saying, but Third Ward, what's popping, man? He said the title of the, you know, the issue is, okay, if that's the case, we're stating this fact that when black men get money or power or whatever, they're cheaters. But we're acting as though black women don't cheat, which is weird to me because these are the same type of black women that cheered the show Scandal. Forget that it was with a white dude. It was that he was cheating. You know, he was cheating. Who is Nick? Hold up for a second.
Yo, what's good, L.A.R?
What's good?
What's going on, brother?
Nothing much. But that's the, you know, hold up, because I got to put my headphones on to hear y'all better. So, but part of the issue is this. Well, okay, so the men, no matter, are all cheaters, but the women who are on TV disparaging the men are somehow angels. They're somehow good people. And I'm like, nah, not really. I think you're just arrogant and narcissistic. Hold up. Can y'all? No, you can't hear me on that one. Hold up. There we go. Let me.
But yeah, to answer your question, L.A.R, yeah, they definitely are, man. It's you know, power to pussy. Like, they know you want that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they see you looking at them. They're like, I can get away with this and that. And don't let them look real good. They really want that they can get away with stuff. That's just how it is.
Thanks, Doug. I'm glad you're here, Dana, because there's a woman on the panel. I don't want to be one of those people that just do dirty. You know, she's still fixing her hair.
Honey, I just got my hair did today. Yes.
So what's happening? I'm gonna set this in this way, because from what I saw earlier, that was my issue. Another issue is, I'm gonna ask a black women narcissistic and arrogant because it comes off that our women, when they publicly speak, when certain women publicly speak, they speak from a point that black women have no flaws. It's just the men. The black women don't have no flaws. And I'm like,
they know they got flaws. It's just not cool to talk about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, you know, you're weak if you talk about it, or you don't get no pussy. Like, that's usually what it is.
You doubling, George?
Huh?
I think you doubling. You had it on in the back or something, because when he spoke,
wait a minute. Let me make sure. No, it shouldn't be.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Am I doubling when I talk?
No.
I can hear you, George.
Oh, well, let me say this, right? First, we got to do this. All right, the conversation we had yesterday, when we just talked about us, the common black people in the communities we come from, we got to separate ourselves from people you see on TV.
Right.
You got to immediately separate yourselves from the programming and the social engineering that goes on TV. anything that comes out to the mass of the people has to be approved. And the majority of these people are contracted in and already sold out. So most of these women that's on TV don't represent the collective of the people. They're there. Their jobs is there to socially engineer and normalize you into a way of thinking outside of what you would think. Because if I go outside in Philadelphia, it's blocks and blocks of black people. And a lot of stuff that we have on YouTube, conversations we have on YouTube, we're not even talking about this kind of stuff. But when they watch this programming, where you see every show like Scandal and so many of these shows where the love interest of a black woman is a white man, they're socially engineering you into that. So now they get to these shows where they got Lonnie Love, and she fits all the so-called Negro stereotypes. And she talks about now dating white men. That's programming and trying to normalize that shit into your minds. But these people are brought and sold to the dominant society. They don't represent us. What we have to do is speak out against them, because they don't represent the whole of black women. But she's there to socially engineer black women's way of thinking into normalizing that shit. That's all it is. It's fucking Hollywood programming, and we got to separate ourselves.
And they watching it on Netflix. They watching it every day. You know what I'm saying? They getting that social engineering.
Well, but Lonnie Love is like,
it's entertainment. Look, it's entertainment and all, but like, do you know the other side? Do you know how you're actually supposed to function in society to get what you want? That's the question.
I think, but again, what I'm saying to you is, we have the society that we live in, but then we have the society that influences the way we think when we watching this TV and watching these movies. The Tyler Perrys, the Mona Scotts, and all of this stuff, where people think that that's a normal way of living. Like, a bunch of women sit around and just think of this shit, right? You know how women hold grudges forever, right? You can have a group of women sit at a table. This is how phony this shit is. They'll throw drinks in each other's faces, fight, and then they be out the next week. Women don't operate like that in the fucking hood. They hate each other for years. But it's phony. They download that shit into your mind. Like, these people ain't friends. They getting a fucking check. But people are watching this shit and they thinking it's real life. The same way they gave you Menace to Society, the Nino Brown movies, and all that type of shit. They want you to emulate this, so that way they can capitalize off of it. It's a social engineering programming that they're trying to do to the masses of the people. We got to see it for what it is and tell them, listen, we should have been told Tyler Perry to get the fuck out of here, but we haven't.
Why?
We should have.
They want that money. That money's
coming
in.
Why would you tell Tyler Perry to get out?
Let Dana talk.
Money's coming in.
Yeah, actually, I'm doing. First of all, L.A.R, you need to put your email, honey, in your about section. So do you, George? Because I wanted to send y'all an email because I'm doing a show tonight at 7.
Okay.
And I want to know if y'all could just, hop in if you had time.
Okay.
Because I'm definitely talking about this, but on a larger scale. And then I'm going to go into some reparations, because it's more so, I'm thinking, not thinking, but the title of it, is it time to start a cancel culture? Canceling certain individuals, not the collective. And that is the problem that I had with Lonnie Love comments, because you as a black person, and she did say, I don't speak for all black people, but why are you getting on a nationwide platform disrespecting black men? Because society is trying to feminize black men or demonize them. And I do have a problem with that. And it's so easy for black women to dismiss black men, but the white women don't do it, and the Asian women don't do it. And their men, white men, they have the power of the money. White men cheat more than anybody, especially Hispanics too. So her comments were dangerous, but because of the Me Too era, it's acceptable. And the direction I'm taking my show tonight is more so, it's not me caping for black men, because that's not my job to tell black men what they should or should not do. It's more so, what are black men going to do to counter that? And it's something more. It's something you can't just talk shit about, I don't like this and this is the problem. As a woman, I can't give you a solution, and it's not my job, and I don't know how. But there's something that black men need to collectively come together and counter being demonized in society. And that's not happening.
Hold up.
Well, the counter is SYSBM and MGTOW and all that. That's the counter.
No, that's not a counter, because and actually I was going to touch on that briefly on my show tonight. That's not a counter. Like when you have these manospheres, because I do, I hop in and I listen because it's ghetto shit. And that's exactly what it is. Y'all don't talk about
Dana,
solutions. Y'all don't talk about,
Dana.
Nah,
no, let me
Hold
I'm
up,
finish.
not
stop.
saying what's the best solution. I'm saying
No,
that's an
no, no. Let
option.
me
And
finish
then
because I
that
can't even stay
okay, go
on here
ahead.
that long because I have my own show. But when you talk about that MAGTOW, whatever, it's always anti going against a woman. And that's not the point I'm trying to make here. When I say men need to start, when I say defending yourself or countering it, it's not counter or going against black women or the black race. It's more so don't even include us. It's whatever men have to do to improve or to level up or to gain power. That's what black men need to do, and I don't see it. And it does not
Okay.
include women.
So what do you see? What do you
Okay.
see?
I see
So
men at these MAGTOWs. You have these different hashtags that you create, and you complain. And I'm not
Can I
seeing
respond?
no
Hold on, Ty.
action.
What are they
Let
complaining
Meech go
about?
after
Oh
Danny.
my God. Hey,
It's on
LAR,
Meech.
LAR, real quick. This
all
going to turn into the SYB and the MGTOW shit.
No,
If it is,
no, it ain't. I ain't gonna do that. I'm doing this for a reason. So
all right,
just rock with me.
all right.
Meech, you got it. And
all
Danny, you
right.
tell me when you
So
gotta go. It's all good.
Uh-huh.
whenever someone's asking what black men are gonna do, it seems that there's not a consideration as to the obstacles that we actually have to take care of. We're not just dealing with what we're dealing with right now. We also have to deal with what's trying to keep us in the state that we are in right now.
Right.
Okay? So this is war type of shit right here. And wars aren't, hey, we're going to go and knuckle up because frankly, we don't want to do that shit anyway. White people are 60% of this damn country. They have the vast majority of guns. They're in control of the technology and every damn thing else. You know, the biggest issue with black men has been here over the past couple of decades is being shamed about shit and not being willing to separate and not separate out of the culture that has us in the place we're in right now. The culture is the issue. Black women aren't the issue. It's the culture. And the reason people talk about with black women is because they embrace, we're talking about in general, not all of them. We're talking about in general, they embrace the culture that we're trying to get away from. So a lot of times you're going to hear foaming at the mouth dudes that hate black women or hate women in general, but you can't extrapolate that amongst the masses of black men because that's not what
See,
we're
and
trying to do,
right, and I don't want to
right?
get the impression that this is a
So,
war
Hold
against
up,
well,
black.
fam.
let me
Hold up,
finish.
Nick.
Well, hold on.
So,
I just want to clear this up, though.
well, I'm not talking. I'm not talking. No,
Okay, yeah,
you're not the
go ahead.
first one I've heard say that. A lot of people do this. So, what I'm trying to say here is that black men have to first back up out of this damn culture to even see where it is we need to go, right? That's the first thing people are saying. You're not gonna find out. You're not gonna know where you need to go until you separate yourself from the bullshit. You can't
I agree.
heal from a
Yeah.
virus until you get rid of that virus, and then you figure out what it is you need to do to heal. But it's two parts. Get out of the muck and mire first, and then figure out what it is that you need to do. If you buy a plot of land that has sewage all over it, you have to get rid of that sewage first, and then figure out what you can do with that land. So
And I
that's
totally
what black
agree
men.
with you. And
Well,
when
that's
but
what
when you
black.
say
Hold
it's
up,
a
Danny.
war,
Hold up, Danny, because Ty was gonna say something too. So
Yeah, go
Ty, you
ahead.
got it.
Yeah, I was just gonna chop. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in, man. Just say, yeah, it's not just black women, it's all women. You know what I'm saying? And to go to what Dana was saying earlier about, MGTOW being anti-woman, that's for a man to
That's not
choose
true.
to. Yeah, but I mean, I'm not trying to rag or not. A lot of people, they don't understand it. For a man to say, I'm going to carry out my life the way I want to, on my own terms without having to subscribe to what society does, that's not anti-woman. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what I was trying to say. That's basically what I was trying to say. Thank you, Ty.
I don't
R-
think it's not about I'm not saying that's anti-women. It's your life. You could do what you want to do with your life. When I'm seeing and when I'm hearing on social media platforms, when people use that hashtag
Yep.
and they have a discussion, they are talking down about black women. And it's like, well, if you're going your own way, why isn't that the focus? Why is the focus black women?
because the men still want the women. See, that's the thing. Yeah, just because we complain, that don't mean we don't like anything about women.
But the focus is not women. That's my point. If you are going your own way for whatever reason, or if you want to live your life for whatever reason, or if you have baggage, as a black man, I'm not a man. I'm not a black man. I'm just a black woman. So if you need to level up, first is really acknowledging you need to level up, and not saying that women don't need this, but the focus right now is men. Your discussions should not even be about your complaints about women.
Why not?
This should not even be a factor.
Okay, so then that's two parts as well, right? That's two parts as well. First
hold on. Joe, wait, Meech. George, you got anything to say?
Yeah, I just want to say that I wanted to get back on the Lonnie Love track and what's going on with that, because once we get into the MGTOW bullshit, you always going to have different fractions that come on and say one thing, and then another group will say, and they'll say they don't represent us, and we
wasn't that a white made
yeah.
So Dana, how about the topic though?
Hold on, brother.
What would you say?
Hold on, Nick. Let George get his thing
on. My bad.
Okay. I think we all in agreement.
Yeah, all I'm saying is the MGTOW fraction don't all agree on certain things, so they all got different interpretations of you. I've heard them all talk. So if I make a statement, one will come on and say, "Hey, that's not what we do." So it all depends on who you're talking to. But I want to get back to this. We got to understand something when you're dealing with TV and programming, man. And you're looking at the Lee Daniels, you're looking at the Mona Scotts, and you're looking at the Tyler Perrys, and you're seeing a lot of black women on TV on a major show, Scandal. The love interest is a white man and a black woman, and she's playing she's sleeping around role. And now Tyler Perry got a show called The Oval, and the love interest is a white man and a black woman. But this is supposed to be a black man that just bought a bunch of fucking land that was a slave plantation to help black people. But the image you putting out there is not fucking black family. It's not black. At what point do we begin to stand up as a people and call it out and call out the Lonnie Loves and say, hey, y'all don't represent us? Or what I see is we draw battle lines against each other and take sides. Black men against the black woman against the black man. But we can clearly see what the fuck is going on and who's actually brought into the dominant society against us to break us up for a check. That's the problem. They're the enemies.
Well, hold up, George. The reason wait, give me 1 second, fam. The reason I'm actually asking this question, and it could be a self-explanatory question, but it's one of these situations where even when you bring TV into it and media into it, the art is imitating life and the life is imitating art. So people are bringing.
I would agree with that, but I would agree with that because I was the one that told you that music, the streets influenced the music. But when you got other groups of competing men that has an agenda against us, they actually create programming to further break up our family. This is not art. This is an agenda.
Well, hold up. And I'm gonna move on. I got you, Nick, because you up. The thing about the agenda is this: is nobody. This even the way with the Lonnie Love thing, even the whole panel didn't know that was coming. She did that on her own.
They wasn't supposed to. But see, we can't say that though.
No, because of the way the whole table of people reacted. It was like, the crazy Amanda she was like, it's just about to be fun. The other chicks was like, that's probably not a good look. See,
but
like,
a lot of that shit be scripted, L.A.R. A lot of that shit be scripted, L.A.R.
A lot of stuff be
programming, man.
Here's the thing.
I don't believe none of that shit.
Hold up. Just because something is scripted does not mean people don't go off script. And what I'm saying is we have to take this into consideration that when you're comfortable to do this type of stuff, you're only comfortable to do this type of stuff with one group of people.
No, I understand that part, but that's part of our psychosis. What I'm saying is that's part of our psychosis that we do to each other. But I'm telling you that there's a group of competing men that already understands our condition. That they created it, and they use these propaganda schemes to draw us apart. We can see it play out in every show.
I get that, but I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this, and Nick, you got it. What I mean by what I'm saying is this, George. When you saw a woman who wasn't black say, "Hey, that go for every guy does that," and a black woman goes, it's black men, that became the problem. But I'm gonna go, Nick. You up, man?
Well, going back to the topic, guys, like I don't think every black woman is narcissistic and arrogant on the same level. See, that's the thing. Just to say, oh, are they narcissistic and arrogant? That's wide ranging. But I think that the black women who look better are a little bit more narcissistic. But then I've also heard people say, well, the black women who do look good, they're more self-conscious. So I think you can only really know after a conversation and observing by her actions or whatnot. But I will say, you know, we want cooperation. That's what men want. I feel like this is so easy. Like, you know, men want women who are cooperating with their program. And a lot of times, you know, black women education or whatnot, they've been pumped up and they're like, well, I'm smarter, I'm better, I got more money, so I should lead. But then they try to do that and then they realize it doesn't work because they don't even want that. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like what I mean.
Dana?
Yeah. I mean,
Dana
I'm just
playing in her hair. Dana
yeah,
playing
well,
in her
I
hair.
gotta put my lipstick on in a minute, but
Dana, you from Jersey?
mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I'm in Jersey.
Oh, okay.
And she liked him young. She liked him young. Well, you
Don't
got
play with me, bro.
yeah.
But
No,
yeah, go ahead.
well, the title of your shows are Black Women Narcissistic. You know, I don't think that's a black woman thing or a black man. I think it's a people thing. Everybody is full of themselves, you know. Everybody want to be seen. Everybody want to trend, you know. Even when we say we don't, we do. That's why we're on YouTube. So, but I just it's something about I have a problem, and even if she was a black man, but specifically Lonnie Love, you are dating an unemployed white man. Amanda Seales, you accuse that NFL player of sexual misconduct, you know, and with this Me Too era, with the black women who created it for black women, let it be hijacked by white women. And, you know, we always been at the bottom of the caste system here in America. And the audacity of her to try to clean up or follow up on her statement by bringing slavery into it, because she was talking about two different things. Do black people have a dysfunction when it comes to the family unit? Yes. And that has to do with racism here in America. But that has nothing to do with your statement accusing black men, saying that they are unable to be faithful as if they're kids. That I have a problem with. You have Asian men, they throw whole babies in the trash. White men kill their wives. Hispanic men beat their women like they're kids and talk to them like they're kids. That's why you see women from other races wanting to be with a black man, because they feel as though they're treated better. And that's why you're going to start seeing a lot of black men go to other races of women, because they're not being treated properly by black women. And I say that on the lines of
Dana.
more so on my son's generation, not my generation, but my son who's 20.
Yeah, I see that too. I see it too.
You really believe that? Like I've never really heard that until here on YouTube.
It's not something that is said. So his generation, they don't say it. It's more so what I observe. So
when you're saying black men treat these women of other races better usually than their own men. That's what you're saying.
Well, black women.
No.
I see black women not treating black men properly, or you know, with respect. And I say that because my son has an array of different friends of different races, and I just noticed if he needs something, it's usually the white females that's there. Oh, sure, no problem.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Oh, my son had to.
So they're willing to cater more. That's what you're saying. They're willing to cater to what you need.
It's not so much catering, and it's not being submissive or it's just
the culture.
Yeah, it's no pushback. Yeah, it's just you need to
sure.
It's not taboo. It's no stigma anymore.
Right, they don't have an attitude. They're just not questioning. So what? And I'm just talking about from a regular everyday life. So he's not going around saying, "Oh," because I told him he's not allowed to marry and have kids with a white woman or all
that. Thank you. Keep telling them that. Keep telling them that, Dana.
That shit ain't gonna work.
But exactly.
Keep telling them that.
The reason why it won't work is if he can't find a decent woman, and then you have the white woman doing things that the black woman should be doing.
Now,
Dana, you know what?
Hold on,
but how can you blame him for wanting to be with the white girl?
She can't, but it's just one of those things. Meech, what you got to say about that?
Okay, so there's two things with this LAR. So let me go back to the question that you asked right up front, the title of the video, right? As a group, yes. As a group, yes. Not all of them. We're never talking about every single one. There's no such thing as 100% of the people being anything, right? As a group, yes. Now let me tell you why, and then here's kind of molding your question there, LAR. With everything we know right now, there's still pushback as to changing what it is. Let's say, we came into this country, we were created a certain way, we were molded a certain way. We know now, but there's still pushback on changing this. That's the biggest problem right there. So now that we know, something has to be done about it. Every day, another young black male is turning 18 years old. Every day, another young black male is being taken to court over some bullshit that's not his damn fault. Every damn day, there's another black male that thought he was going to be able to work it out with some girl, some chick, that gets to the child courts and gets screwed over. So we have to continuously talk about this because every day there's another group of black men that are going to be having this issue, right? It's not, hey, we snap our fingers and it's done. And whoever doesn't know right now, even if they didn't know because they were 16 years old 2 years ago, fuck them. No, we have to keep talking about it. But the question is, now that we know, why is there such refusal to change and get rid of that culture? Like you were talking about with the television, right? Well, I just watch it for entertainment. It's just entertainment. No, it's not. Just like your man was saying, this is to offer, culture affects entertainment. Entertainment affects culture, right? But if we see right now that entertainment right there is some bullshit, we should stop watching it. Why is there always an excuse to keep watching it?
Hold on.
I have to
Oh
go.
no, I think
Thank you guys for having me.
I know. Hold on, Dana. I'm gonna put my email in the chat
Dana.
so you can see it.
You want to what?
I'm gonna put my email in the chat so you can see it because
Okay.
I'm gonna come by.
All right,
You got
cool.
it?
Yeah, I'm about to look now.
Okay.
Oh wait. All right.
So
Good night, guys.
so they
Peace.
so they saying Lonnie Love's supposed to have her own show coming out soon. That this is interesting. And Amanda Seals actually got called out for her fuckery, and she doubled down. No apology, no nothing.
Yeah.
Still.
Wait a minute, George. Did you fall off or did you do that on purpose?
Yeah, I fell off by accident.
Okay.
I'm gonna say something before we go. Then I gotta go. But I just want to say this to the brothers real quick because I actually come from a African American and Latino background, and I'm gonna say this. And I told my wife this. I'm gonna tell you why a lot of women from other cultures come to black men and the black American men, because they can get away with things with black American men, and they can be more loose with black American men than they could be with men of their own culture that have intact cultures. The China woman can't behave a certain way in that Chinese culture with that Chinese man. The Latino, I mean, it's well documented what Latino men do to their women. The Caribbean man, the African man, the white man, the Arab man. When they get with this black man, it's not that the black man is nicer. The black man doesn't have, because we don't have economic power and a strong culture, we don't have that type of power or grip over our women and communities that way other people do. So it's easy to be with a black man. Number one, they look at us for our sexual prowess, but they have more freedom with us. So, and we got to really analyze and break that shit down, especially if you're a person that has experienced other cultures that come from that plays in both culture or raised in both cultures. The black American man, it's not that he's a pussy. It's just that what we've been through, we don't have as much power, economic power and cultural power. So when these other women get with us, they have freedoms with the black men that they don't have with other people. That's a major
good insight too, George. Thank you for that.
So
Ty,
I said that on
let Ty.
Okay, go ahead.
Let Ty and Phil get that, and then we go around. I just skip myself.
Yeah, hey, George, man, I want to chop it up with you on that music and the entertainment and mass media conversation, bro. Because I got major pushback on another panel for some views that I had. But I feel like I feel like, whenever you got somebody like Amanda Seals, right, who goes after this guy who rejected her, and she gets called out on the fuckery, and then she doubles down. No apologies, no nothing, bro. And now she end up getting on a daytime television show, bro. It's almost like a rite of passage to like throw black men under the bus to get ahead for some of these bitches.
Phil, you there?
I think we seen that with Oprah and a few other women.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
It triggers people. These topics trigger people, and then like
Hold
now
on, Nick.
we got the social media.
Let Phil talk. I got you. Okay. I'm gonna just skip myself, and you are gonna go right after.
All right.
Well, I just wanted to make a comment to the one brother that made. He said something about the Tyler Perry situation. So basically, I understand where he's coming from, because I used to be one of them brothers. Like, man, what is this dude doing? But what if we had ousted that Tyler Perry dude? We would be in a hurt. That dude sat there and played chess. He actually checkmated the whole game in making Hollywood look slow. So therefore, instead of a lot of people not liking the content that he's putting out, now if people step up to the plate, instead of them worrying about what Tyler Perry putting out, they can jump into the arena and participate. Because that's how I look at it. You can either be on the sidelines always complaining about what's out there, or you can jump into the field and say, you know what, I need to change this and do something about that. And I'm not defending the stuff he was doing, because I agree why Spike Lee was digging in his behind in the beginning. I get it. But at the end of the day, nobody in the history of film have ever did what he done. As a matter of fact, he making Oprah and them look slow by himself. One dude sitting there opening up. I mean, bought all that land in Atlanta, and his whole facility is bigger than Hollywood's put together. And he did it by himself. I can't even knock that. So at the end of the day, the brother that had made the comment, if people was to step up to the plate, they can put their own films out there. We ain't gotta be sitting on the sideline always just cutting on the TV looking at local television. We can participate now.
I'm gonna ask.
Can I respond to that, L.A.R.?
George, you respond, and Nick, you say what you got to say.
I want to say this. I understand what the brother is trying to say, but there's been thousands of black people that's made attempts to step up to the plate only to get ostracized by the dominant society. When you're dealing with people like Lee Daniels and him, we already understand the agenda and what's going on and what he did and what he sold to the psychological minds of black people to get in the position that he's in. He's not the first person to come out and try to do things. There's been many black people that's been trying to get movies that uplifted black people where white people wasn't the victors at the end, or there wasn't a white love interest, but they was only shot down by the elites that control Hollywood. So a lot of these dudes, when we see them, a lot of them are gay, a lot of them are they support certain groups. I don't want to get L.A.R's thing. So when we do the research, we can see it. So when I call out a Tyler Perry, I'm calling out a Tyler Perry based off of research and the product that people like him and Lee Daniels have put out. And people that really want to put out good product, they get smothered. So now you go and buy this land, but now the first show that you break is the show called The Oval, where the love interest of a black woman is a white man. Come on, what are we doing?
I agree with what you're saying. Only thing I'm saying, let's say if you was in position and you wanted to counteract anything he was doing, at least the facility is set up that can't stop you. Anybody that want to use his facilities and make their own film and their own production.
Hold up, before y'all do the back and forth, let Nick say his piece.
Yeah, we good.
Now go ahead, y'all. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the thing with Tyler Perry, right?
That's you, Meech?
Okay, so y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So here's the thing with Tyler Perry, right? This is the way I say you handle a Tyler Perry. Don't support him. We all know who Nate Parker is, right? He redid Birth of a Nation. What should happen is if we support Tyler Perry in so much
You borging out.
as he is a director like that.
You borging out again. I'm gonna say something quick about this whole, even the Tyler Perry part, even the media part. The part of what I'm talking about, a narcissism and arrogance, is if we support these things, we're perpetuating them in our lives. So just because somebody brings out the material does not necessarily, we're in love with it. You get what I'm saying? We can't act like we weren't the people going to the plays. We can't act like we weren't the people that was buying the tickets. We can't act like the people who was amening it in the beginning. You get what I'm saying? So even with this woman coming out, with Lonnie Love coming out saying what she said, it's people who gonna amen this. It's people who gonna go, yeah, that's true. And it's people who are not looking at themselves as a problem either. That's why I asked about the narcissism and arrogance. It ain't the looks that I'm necessarily talking about. It's the idea that everybody else is wrong and I'm right.
Say L.A.R. So for the people who maybe don't understand like the story that you're referring to, can you like briefly sum it up?
About Lonnie Love?
Yeah.
They were talking about relationships basically on a panel. The Real, like a female talk show, The View, all that other stuff. So Lonnie Love basically comes out and says, you know, black men are cheaters. And she's like, when black men get money and power, they're cheaters. And Amanda Seales was like, oh, this about she basically was amening it on the low. And then a Puerto Rican chick, I believe she's Puerto Rican, she's Hispanic. She's like, look, all men cheat. Like, that's not just to black men. And Lonnie Love doubled down and was like, no, it's black men because of slavery and the breakup of the families and this, that, and the third. And it's like, wait a minute. What you just put out into the world is black men are the problem as far as relationships, even though Lonnie Love, in my opinion, she's morbidly obese and been morbidly obese for decades. So
okay, so it's almost like, how credible is her opinion on this?
Right. Because if people remember who Lonnie Love was before this show, I had to double back and look. Lonnie Love was in Soul Plane. Lonnie Love was a security guard that was bigger than Monique. So the idea that, you know, it's the men, and it's like, Lonnie, you ain't did a sit up or drunk water in 27 years. Have you actually competed and made yourself attractive to these guys that you want? Probably not.
I mean, and to say like, okay, first of all, let's keep this clear. You get into a long-term relationship, your desire is still there. Now, if you're disciplined, if you made the agreement with that woman that, hey, you're going to be the only girl I sleep with, and then you go against that, well, yeah, you're cheating. So that's like, I mean, but to say that your desire is going to leave once you get married, see, that's crazy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's part of the issue. Like I'm not here to quote unquote disparage the women, but I gotta put this in perspective that, like, what I was gonna talk about 10 different topics before I let everybody on, but I just skipped that. But the part of that is this. One of the topics was the hypocrisy, because we're dealing with women who are publicly saying one thing and publicly doing another. Because I asked a female friend of mine, I said, when you think about black women with white men in the media, if they get married in relationships, normally they break up because the white dude cheats on them. So we got a black woman saying all black.
But they would say that it was about finance. They would say that, oh, the number one reason why they break up is over finance.
Right, but the woman that played fancy, cheating. Robin Thicke, cheating. Aisha Tyler, cheating. To be perfectly honest, Serena Williams, her husband had another black girlfriend, and he was cheating on her with her. Cheating.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So this idea that, you know, we are just
I didn't know that, L.A.R. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
If you look up that dude, he had a black girlfriend while he was with Serena. You know what I'm saying? Okay. She got pregnant. Basically, she was the side chick that got pregnant, and he married her.
Okay. She had the more money. She did the most money. She had the most money.
Yeah, he would have been a dummy not to make that move.
So
hey, but can I say something? Can I say something controversial that might get me in trouble?
You say your thing, and then Meech, you can respond, man. And then Ty and Phil.
L.A.R., can I be a temptation real quick?
Go ahead, you leader.
I'm gonna say this. I hate what Lonnie Love said. I can't stand it. Now, I don't like a lot of women that talk that way. But I also don't like black men that talk that way. And I've heard songs like "These bitches ain't loyal," and we talk down on our women for generations. And You see this shit now where the dominant society is creating these avenues for women to go and fall into the trap of this bullshit. And I just think that we got to try to find ways as a people to try to fix this shit if we want to actually save our culture. Because black men been doing it in music forever. Look at this bitch and all this kind of shit.
Okay,
And
hold up, George. Let me push back on that and let me handle this one.
I am real quick, but let me just bring it home. Let me just bring it home. I'm not, but by no means, let me just say this stuff. No means am I condoning, because I don't like when bitches do that shit either. Because I call her a bitch because she's a bitch for what she did. But she don't represent all black women just as much as black dudes that talk down on black women don't represent all black men. But this is a problem, period, across the board.
I get that. The only reason I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say,
how to separate entertainment from real life.
No, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you the one difference, and then Meet, you got it, fam. The one difference with that argument is this: when we hear black women saying disparaging songs about black men, we ain't dancing to them and we ain't buying them. We ain't listening to them. That's the big difference. You know, we call Tyrone. Come on, I gotta go, baby. You and your girlfriends can listen to that shit. I'm not listening to that. Meech, I'm sorry, you got it, fam. And then Ty and then Phil.
So here's the thing: it's circling wagons, right? We got good black women, we got bad black women, but a lot of the good black women circle their wagons around the poor black women, and right off the bat, they instantly want to protect them, even when they know they're full of shit. That's one of the biggest problems right there too with what the brother just said.
They don't be calling them out. That's what you're saying.
They don't be calling them out, and they need to call them out because it needs to be called out, and not because they're scared of what we're gonna say if we catch them not calling them out. Right? If we're gonna say here, right is right, do what's right, then you need to be calling them out when you know they're full of shit. And look what L.A.R. just said. So she's with this white dude, and let's be honest. If you just look at this white dude, it ain't nothing special about him, right? He doesn't have it nearly her money. Especially when you consider how many brothers was talking about Serena Williams, right? That actually got way more money than this cat got, right? But for some reason, not only is she going to give this dude, this run-of-the-mill cat that got this website, a chance, but she will cheat on him when he's with not just with another woman, but with another black woman. So we got to start talking about this circling of the wagons. That's another big thing we need to happen. Black dudes go at each other's throat when we feel like each other is wrong. We're doing it nowadays. It ain't a thing of the past. We're doing it now. Where are the black women that are doing this in great numbers?
I agree with that.
Yep, all facts.
Ty.
I agree with that.
Ty City, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, man. I just want to I just picked my son up, bro.
Go be dad,
I just want
man.
to
Get
say
off this panel. Go be dad. Don't be worrying about us, suckers.
No, I'm driving. He playing with his fire truck, bro. Hey, I just want to say, man, we getting around the elephant in the room, dog. And I'm gonna just say it like this, bro. Nobody care about what Lonnie Love doing, dog. I'm just being honest.
Oh yeah, I'm not necessarily caring about what she's doing. She just representing something that keeps happening. Now, I'm gonna tell you why I did this.
It's not her specifically.
It's her influence we care about.
What it is like I used to watch the brothers do a lot of panels, right? And when they do panels and the women come on, the women will say, I don't see that happening. And what will happen more times than not was there will be a woman in the media who do the exact same thing that the brothers were talking about on the panel. And it kept happening. It's such a it happens with such frequency. It's like this is not a coincidence at this point.
So you're just trying to call it out when it happens, huh, L.A.R?
Yeah.
L.A.R. L.A.R. Let me tell you something, bro. That's how I ended up in this space, right? Because I seen somebody leave some comments under a Breakfast Club interview about interracial dating. And I just started searching it because people had all these opinions. That's how I ended up in the manosphere. Cause I was, you know what I'm saying? I was with a white girl at the time, and I never seen nobody actually like approach me or try to say nothing about it, or I had to go online and search for the opposition.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's the issue. Just to put it out there. Phil, you up, fam?
I can definitely agree with the one brother that was speaking about the music, because what I've done, I've talked to a lot of older women and younger women. I said, let me go back in time. What's gonna happen is that the women like from the 60s and 70s, only thing they would sing about all day long is love songs, because that when Motown was putting that out, that was the only thing they was listening to, and it got ingrained and embedded. Now we done got to a serious problem where you got all this trap music, and a lot of the, from the teenagers all the way to the, let's say, 30-something group, they mimicking that because the biggest followers and sponges are women. So it's that it's just the truth. They're the easiest ones of the monkey see monkey do. So all you gotta do is put some foolish music out there, and they take to it without even thinking about that they being programmed. So that's where the whole wave is going through, and us men are caught up in that. What happened? Now a lot of these females and got hostile, and they turn it masculine in the whole nine, and it's gonna hit a wall. But that's what it happened. It's not just the music that's a part of it, because for some reason women can separate movies from music, and they won't imitate the movies, but they'll imitate the music more because they hear it every day, and whether it's the iPod, the radio, while they driving to work, whatever. And I find that strange, so for example, you're not going to see a woman trying to imitate what Al Pacino doing and trying to shoot up a bunch of people, but she'll hear the average trap song, and she emulating that and walking around singing it all day. And it's like, wow, it's like we really we stuck in some doo-doo for
So
real.
basically, you're saying that if we got rid of this type of music, the girls would go back to doing what they're supposed to do.
They wouldn't have a choice because they're the sponge.
I gotta push back.
Come on, dog.
I'm not saying get rid of it, because
I grew
up on the heart. All I'm saying is people only know what they hear and they see. So let's say if all music was wiped out right now, if there was only let's say R&B, I'm just using this for an example. If that's all that's out there, if that's all they hearing, if they only hearing love songs, if they only hearing Aaliyah type music, and where it's about love, this and this and that, that's the only thing they brain is putting out there. If they talking about the love songs that they hear, what's they doing? They trying to get a man. They trying to be in love.
I see what you're saying. I see on top of audio though, on top of them hearing, they also have to see, right? They have to see the relationship from their mother and father. Like they actually have to be taught these skills, which are going to make the guy want to keep them around long term. See what I mean? So it's a few things that have to.
But you know what? But it didn't got so bad. I know personally a lot of women with master's degrees that have no elegance at all toward men, but they have no problem reciting these rap lyrics. It's crazy.
Well, let me say this real quick though, because on that aspect you're right. But the problem that I have, because I like to do balance, man. When I'm talking and I'm dealing with my community. Mm-hmm. That music didn't just influence the women. That music influenced the boys too, and it is a collective. It's not one or the other. Because as I grew up in listening to the love music back in the day, the very early R&B music was all about love. It's all about how people rights and how a man loves a woman. Jeffrey Osborne and all that good shit, and the women, Melissa Morgan and all that. And it began to change as time go on. But the streets, the community influenced the music. The music never influenced the people, because the people come from the streets and they bring the music. The problem is now.
George, I tried to tell the niggas that, bro. That's
very interesting, George. Well, I'm glad you said that too.
Let me push back on it just to be contrarian. Okay, you got it, George.
I just want to bring it home real quick to explain because you have groups now that's taking over the industry, that's gearing now they're social engineering and gearing a certain type of culture to our people, where when we was able to express ourselves, we gave a certain type of music. There's a lot of things that come into play. So now when the same way the girl is downloaded with that, but so is the guys. I was around for the hyper masculine era and how we disrespected our women in music, where we used it as a term of endearment and we normalized the shit. I was there for the Little Kim. I was there for the everything. So what I'm saying is that shit fucked all of us up. So when you see Alani Love on there doing fuckery, you know what I'm saying, which I don't approve of, I also know that I was a nigga one time doing fuckery, and I probably would have said some nut shit like that, just not on the mainstream about a fucking woman. And what I'm saying is, if we want to fix it, we got to fix the whole problem, unless we just want to leave black women alone altogether. Because the black woman ain't just fucked up. We straight, we normal. We all fucked up. This is a collective. But
George,
hold up. Let me say this real quick to push back, and then you got it, Nick. We're gonna come back to you. I'm gonna try to speed it up a little bit.
Go ahead.
Here's my pushback about the music. When you listen to old school music, even all the way up to the 80s and even part of the 90s, the problem with that love music was they made love music about I'm so in love, I'm cheating on you too.
I know.
so that when we say it's the love music, oh, I'm sorry, baby, I'm so in love with you, I'm in love with her too, and she be like, I'm in love with him too, and it's like, that's why you got your head knocked off.
But it was a collective though. Dudes was doing it too. It was a collective bullshit.
That's what I'm saying. It was good. It wasn't just the music that said these chicks ain't no good or these dudes ain't no good. It was also the music. It's like, oh, I'm just so in love. I just happen to be in a hotel with this random person and I can't answer the phone because it's love. Your
wife is my woman.
Exactly. Excuses. Stop making excuses for bad behavior. Adults should know how to adult. Scott Hayward.
Yeah, I mean, but see that's it. And this is all I'm saying. Because I know a lot of times our people we got a problem with just, especially black men. We don't know how to really listen to each other. I'm not excusing her, but what I like to do is analyze. Her get up there and make that statement. Obviously, she's been thinking this way for a long time. And when I look back into our communities where we come from and how we treat each other and the way we talk to each other, I know how black men talk to women. I know how black women respond and talk to men. And now that shit is starting to get on TV.
Hold up. Look at this comment, and this actually is a great point. Because with the title, this is about all the women are. Because one of the things we got to say is, if we actually want quote unquote a black community and quote unquote black love, when we got to cut off the fuckery, we cut off the fuckery on both angles. And we can't deflect it from, okay, the women doing this, but what about the men? Or the men doing this, but what about the women?
Well, sometimes we gotta stay on task on that. L.A.R. You gotta remember too. Women are the gatekeepers of sex, and men are the gatekeepers of relationships, and that's it. You have to acknowledge that dynamic.
Yeah, but I'm not even.
Some of the.
I'm sorry.
I know, but some of the issues that are taking place. Let's say, for example, the single motherhood issue. You know, it's up to the woman. That's her womb. It's up to her to protect it. So she has to be able to choose and decide who she's going to mate with, because that spawns a whole series of events. So that's very significant. And that has nothing to do with the man.
Hold up, Joe. I want to say something that's going to kind of switch it a little bit, and then we're going to go to Meech. Because what you just said sparked something that I was going to talk about before I even let people on. When it comes to single motherhood in our community, I was going to bring up the fact about the narcissism and arrogance is the fact that if you talk to most women, mothers in general, and single mothers, they'll say, "Let me talk to your baby mama. I could talk to her. You know, you can't talk to her, but I could talk to her. I could get her to do something." It's the arrogance of thinking that, you know, the men can't do anything right, but if a woman can talk to another woman, even if the woman is no good, you know what I'm saying? It's that queen dynamic that they got it all together when they don't. My bad about that. Meech, you could go with that or what they was talking about.
Okay, yeah, I feel what you're saying.
Okay, so check this out, right? First off, this king and queen shit, that's something that has to be earned. You are not just by birth a king or a queen when you're African American in this country, because you're certainly not being born into it, because there's nothing for you to be born into. Okay, but when we talk about holding each other accountable, you know what the ultimate question is when it comes down to that? What are we really willing to do? That's why I need people to understand this. SYSBM is a culture thing. It's not just for women. We ain't talking about just black women and white or other women. If you ain't dealing with the fuckery of other dudes who want to keep a grip on this culture. That's what SYSBM is supposed to be, right? So the question is, how far are people willing to go? Because earlier I talked about women circling the wagons. Well, here's the thing, too. Even if you call out black people on their bullshit, are you then willing to separate them and say, hey, if you roll like that, you have the right to do that, but I can't fuck with you?
And
most
look,
people
this is where
don't
the
do
man.
that.
Okay, this is where it's up to the man to decide, right? What is he going to stand for, right? Because remember, I was like, okay, well, the women, who is she going to let into her womb? Who is she going to have kids with, right? Now, this is on the man, right? what is he going to stand for, right? What is he going to accept? If this woman starts doing X, Y, and Z, is he just going to be like, oh, I don't know, the pussy's good, I don't care, I'm just going to go along with it? Or are you going to be like, look, are you going to do the ultimatum thing? Look, I'm this type of guy, I can only accept X, Y, and Z, and if you don't like that, you got to be out. And until the men do that, the women are going to not take you serious. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think somebody else want to go, or I go.
Phil,
well, I just go ahead, L.A.R. What you say?
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, I think, see, like me, I don't really make statements, and I think a lot of times it'll be unpopular, especially with a lot of the young people, because when I speak, I don't make statements based off what I see right there. When I walk in the room and turn the light on, I like to make statements on how the room got there. So for me, when I hear young brothers say, well, it's up to the woman to decide who must between her legs, when we understand, when we have a culture, an intact culture, the culture and the morality within the culture dictates how we interact and respond to each other. How a man responds, what his role is to a woman when he puts a baby in there. How a woman, who a woman opens her legs up to. We don't have a community because of what happened to us of problem solvers and women that's coming up through a culture that tells us how she should operate in that culture.
Hold on, George. Just 1 second. Just hold that thought. Cocaine Kales, do you want to come on, fam? Because you know, I rock with you. So if you got something to say, because I don't want to talk about women and I have enough women on the panel to speak for women and whatnot.
Right.
But go ahead, George.
Hey, can I go after George?
That's telling us how to operate in that culture. Like we have in our communities have become a cesspool. A lot of our children are being born without structure. So the boys don't know their roles. The women she dropping her panties to anybody that says something nice to her, and the dudes is just spilling the seed everywhere.
What I'm saying, George, is look. The dusty guy wants to hit, but also go ahead.
Let me just finish so that way wrap it up. So all I'm saying is this: if we gonna hold certain things accountable and start saying, hey, I'm gonna separate myself. When we do that and we separated with the women, we got to create a different moral structure that dictates how we treat each other with sexual discipline, which we don't have in the communities we come from.
George,
right.
I don't know why people call you a simp, bro.
So here's
I'm checking any nigga that call you a simp from now on, bro.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing with that is that we've had for the past 2 or 3 decades, we have had a very prominent and quite a few black men that have tried to change the culture. It's like I said earlier, if you don't remove yourself, we can't change the culture. We need to let that culture kill itself and create a new culture, right? We got to be very clear with our verbiage here. I know what you meant, but we have to remove ourselves from this culture. You can't force women to do shit, and certainly black men can't force anybody to do a goddamn thing. We're the first one to get the police called on us, and at minimum, we're going to get arrested along with them, even if we didn't do shit and we have video surveillance to prove it, right? Okay, so what we have to do is separate ourselves, because we don't even know what culture we'll create until we get out of the muck and mire. And then we have to hold everybody accountable within that culture, including, just like the mob. If you vouch for somebody that's fucked up, you're held to certain circumstances. Now, it's not that we have to shoot people in the head, but if you vouch for somebody to bring them into that culture, they have to be responsible for them and the bullshit that they're going to pull. And we have to have
What's your name, brother?
where they take it very seriously. Meech.
Oh, okay, Meech. Okay.
Yeah, so
and yeah, go ahead, Meech. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it has to be taken very seriously, because we have this thing like, oh, but that's my brother right there. Yeah, but your brother is fucking up, and you're willing to let him in here, and one apple spoils the bunch, right? So the deal is, we have to be willing, not only when we separate, because it has been done, it has been tried, but we have to be willing to try the right thing, right? We don't know exactly what that is right now. Make adjustments. We get a little further, well, that must be right. Let's do that until we make another adjustment, right? Because we're not going to have all the answers right now. We're not. But I can tell you this, if you're not willing to back out of this culture, and we keep trying to fight to change this culture, when we have the least amount of power than any male in this country, we're ramming our head against the wall.
Let me ask you this. Let me say this. Ask this. Because part of what I mean about the arrogance and the narcissism is the narratives. I don't really think we have the least amount of power in this country. I think we say it so much that it becomes self-fulfilling, because Native American men probably have the least amount of power in this country.
Okay. Well, I guess let me word it this way then. This is how I feel. there's potential, and then there's result, right?
Right.
Results is when you actually have power. That's an aggregate. But we don't commune. That's why people talk about black community versus black neighborhoods and masses, right? We don't commune, and we certainly don't commune properly. So until we do that, we don't actually have power. Power is something that is mass, right? It's not 40 million different people doing 40 million different things. It's the majority.
I mean, check this out, man. Like, as a younger dude, I'm 29, right? Here's what I see, man. It's never just one thing. It's multiple dynamics. It might be, okay, as an intelligent brother he's a little geeky, and then he can't get with XYZ girl, and that same girl doesn't like his swag, so she's like, so they don't get along, right? And then now you got her chasing Pookie and Ray Ray because she likes his swag, but he's not the most intellectual, for example. There's all these different dynamics, but what I'm thinking to solve the problem would be the guys got to have better standards, right? And the girls have to choose better and be able to filter throughout these, like the guys that they probably shouldn't be long-term relationship with. And what the girls can do is they can start asking these guys more questions, and then they'll get the truth out. Girls always talking about guys lie, but they never ask any questions. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like
they don't want that truth.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying the girls have to be better at filtering out what they want, and so do the guys. And I feel like the guys have to have better standards, and then the girls have to be like not just fucking everybody.
We don't teach young boys to have standards in the communities we come from.
Hold on. Hold on. Ty, what you got to say, fam? Because you came in a few times.
No, because you I think you said the Native Americans have more power.
No, less
power. Okay, yeah. I used to feel that way too until that pipeline shit popped up, bro. And nigga, hey, real talk, bro. When I seen that shit go down, I was like, man, these motherfuckers not playing. And I haven't seen that type of unity amongst us where it was boots on the ground for a single issue. Where people was like, yeah, you're gonna have to kill us. I haven't seen that, bro.
Yeah, we don't love each other like that, man. Unfortunately.
Yeah, we got to see the value in ourselves and see the value in others. Like seriously, like, and I feel like that's why it's so easy to be mean to each other because we're not recognizing the value. And you know, but that's not. Yeah, go ahead, George.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna jump off. So I gotta get my son. Something I said on the channel because I'm glad that we right here in this part of the conversation. Because we believe that the more education we got, the better off we are. And what I'm saying is, when we understand the black culture, it's not about the education or the Pookies and Ray Rays. It's about understanding who you are and what it is that we're fighting for and what we're trying to create. Because we got all the education in the world, and some of the biggest traitors to our community has been the educated. Because the more educated they got, the more indoctrinated they got. And then some of the biggest traitors was the so-called people that fell into the traps of destroying the communities and going to the white man's prison. So we got to figure out what it is that we want and the pitfalls that was put in front of us. And it's not just saying, well, this guy's educated, so he's the standard. No, because some of them are the biggest traitors too. So we got to like if we want to separate ourselves, we got to separate ourselves and create a whole new. Yeah, I mean, you know, and that's just the way I see it.
Okay.
That's the way I see it.
He said the way. Now, hold up, Meech. Yeah. I'm gonna ask a question before I go. Before I say something.
He's a genocidal maniac.
I'll make it good. I was clowning. Omega, what's happening? Keeping with the title, do y'all think the black woman is loyal? Because I hear
it's
sisters.
Funny you say that, L.A.R. I think women pump it up more than men. I really do. Because think about it, especially if you're a guy that doesn't like, you know, let's say you're a guy that doesn't
I got you, Phil.
Girls, right? When you finally do get a girl, you want to be loyal to her. You're like, damn, I better keep her around because I don't know when the next chick is gonna give me some play. So most guys are in that situation. Most girls are getting dick thrown at them all the time. So I think girls pump it up more than dudes.
Okay, no, hold on. That's the sexual part. What I'm talking about, when I hear the sisters talk about they stick with black men because they're loyal. When I see this type of thing that happened with Lonnie Love, it ain't nothing new, but the loyalty conversation goes out the window. when a woman of another ethnicity got to tell you, no, that's not true, and you say,
I see what
yes,
you're
it
saying,
is.
L.A.R.
Like because all these women actually loyal. Because the minute that they get an opportunity to throw us under the bus, they do. The same thing happened a few weeks ago when 50 Cent went at Oprah about the documentaries.
So you're saying it's not even just a sexual aspect.
No,
there's another aspect, which is like the public view and how the media
group
loyalty.
wise, they're not loyal to the black people as a group. They don't have the options that other groups of women have, because black women in this country have the worst reputation. Point blank, period. They're only as loyal as their options.
And then David.
Yeah, they're only going to be as loyal as their options. So let's not even talk about black women that are dating white men. Let's talk about how black women behave when they hear that a black woman has a white man. The social media is on fire. The praising their high fives and backflips. And for what? Because she has a white dude? It'd be average, run-of-the-mill ass white dudes that are not held to not even a tenth of the
That's a good point, Mitch.
that we're held to. If that dude can shoot a free throw, we got to be able to do a standing 360 behind the back, through the legs, from the free.
Yeah, man.
Ty, you up, then David, then Methuselah.
Yeah. So right when see, because I've dated all types of women. So when it comes to black women, what I have found is while you in a relationship with a black woman, I heard O'Shea say something about Miss Ann and having Miss Ann syndrome and whatnot. But
we just talked about that before.
Yeah.
So they get that amongst each other, and that shit is toxic as fuck, bro. Like the friends, like if you get a black chick to herself where you can talk to her, and you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about a good chick from a good background. You have to separate her from the poisonous ones, bro, or else shit gonna hit the fan, bro. And that's why they all move in unison, right? So whenever they have that relationship goals shit, you know, that relationship goals and shit.
Yep.
Yeah, as soon as you do something, they're gonna go to the sisterhood. They're gonna be like, okay, so he did this, and then they're gonna say what they would do.
Yes,
and that might not be the best thing.
That shit real, bro. They move in unison. You in a relationship with all of them. So and then, she gonna be loyal as her friends will allow her to be.
A girl might say, well, you guys do that too. Y'all talk to y'all dudes about stuff, but nah, dudes don't really move like that. Like your homie might say something, but like at the end of the day, guys are gonna do what they want to do. So like we're more like islands when it comes to how we move around. But it seems like women depend on that social, okay, what are my friends gonna do versus maybe what's the best thing to do.
Bro,
David, it's on you, fam.
Okay, salute to L.A.R, my Manosphere brothers, the rest of the brethren. Of course, black women are narcissists and arrogant. They're the whole society teaches them to be that. I tell people all the time, we're attacked subconsciously and psychologically different. That's why I tell people black women really don't have a clue what it is to be a black man. And so that's why I said a lot of the things they do, society encourages them purposely, because like I said, at the end of the day, that keeps us divided. So they really, they've been subconsciously brainwashed to be narcissists. That's why if you notice, they really don't think they do anything wrong. Now, for the sake of conversation, they will say that. But when you look at their actions, they'll say it just so they can say, I said that, but you don't see the actions translating into, I see I'm fucking up, let me get it right. So I'm gonna say it again, subconsciously, they've been brainwashed to be like this. And I think, of course, there is a percentage they do understand, but I don't think they really, they fully grab the full realm of it. And I don't even think black men have.
And a portion of that too is I don't think a lot of women don't understand the sexual marketplace value thing. About how their looks going to fade. Like they're not thinking this way. Like I mean, I feel like in male spaces, this is so like easy for us to understand because we rehearse this all the time. However, women a lot of times they don't even get this game. Like they don't understand that, hey, I'm 18, 19, 20. I need to maybe look for certain qualities in a guy. So I'm not, when I get 40, I'm not by myself. You see what I'm saying? I don't even think a lot of times women are thinking that far ahead. And by the time life hits them, they done made the wrong decision already. And they're like, well, damn. Nobody
You know why
even
that
told me.
is though?
Nobody gave me a heads up.
Black men have the lowest standards when it comes to women. So what you're seeing is they're looking at the women that are 35, 40 years old and not even in shape, but she can go get some black men. And black men don't hold themselves. We don't hold a standard as a group when it comes to what we're fucking. Let me tell you what I saw, man. And I look at
and
this.
these
I
older
try not to
women
be
too need to
judgmental.
start training these chicks.
Hold up, Nick.
Well,
Hold up, Nick.
check this
I'm
out.
sorry, go ahead.
Check this out. I
Go
try
ahead.
not to be judgmental, but we all make our judgments, right? It's just not being outright with it and just being fucked up to people, right? But we all make our judgments. You know what you're starting to see more of? You're starting to see more young black men with older, ugly, and out of shape white women.
Damn.
I saw it just yesterday. I looked at it, and it's a young cat. He couldn't have been more than maybe 27, something like that. 26, 27. This chick, like, she was probably early 30s, something like that.
She was big and
not
ugly?
a sight. She was not a sight that she was shaped like a raisin.
A raisin?
And I mean that literally. I mean that literally.
She was probably cooperating.
Right?
That's
She
probably
wasn't
what it
even
was.
a cute. She wasn't even a cute big girl. What I'm saying is, men are typically going to get the best thing they can get when it comes to looks, right? Women are in society. If you just go by nature, women go by men. Women like looks, but they like producers too. Men aren't requiring women to be producers. They're requiring women to keep themselves in shape, be good looking, right, and loyalty.
Right.
Black men are, what's the term? Are the garbage men of the dating community. We don't place these requirements. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers they'll just fuck almost any damn thing. And it goes back to it. I'm gonna tell y'all something, man, with this YouTube thing. For decades, women have had their outlets on television and other media deals to shit on men and not be held accountable. One of the biggest reasons we're seeing so much rabid pushback right now is because now we're finding out. We're talking L.A.R. doesn't live anywhere near me, but we've had a lot of the same experiences. O'Shea hasn't lived in the United States for a couple of years right now, and even when he was here, he was in California. I didn't live there either, but we're seeing the experiences that we're all going through. There's a lot of commonality amongst it. Just like Christians and Buddhists and Muslims, we may not all come out of this the same exact agreement, but coming out of it is the most important thing, right?
The jig
and I
is
think
up.
we have to keep an eye on that. We may not agree with each other on a lot of things. It just is what it is, but we can come out of this
now
in better terms. Exactly. And that right there is what has people so scared,
The
because we're
mask
not
is off.
supposed to. They don't want us to have standards. They don't want us to have standards.
Hold up,
They
hold
don't
up.
want us to have standards.
Cocaine, I know I see you here. What do you have to say so far?
Cocaine kills.
Kill him.
Don't tell me I can't hear. Oh, she on
Her
mute.
mic on?
She's on mute.
I can't hear her either.
She's on mute. Let me see.
Hello.
What's up?
Hey, we can hear you.
Oh, I unmuted it and she muted herself trying to unmute it. Oh my god. She'll be right back. After these messages. Anyway, here's the thing. And I'm glad you said what you said, Meech, about I think we're at a point where black men having standards is becoming offensive.
Yep.
Right. Right.
And I think that's the bigger issue. I think that's an underlying issue rather, because when I listen to sometimes some of these things that go on, and the reason why I'm talking about arrogance and narcissism, because it's the kind of pushback comes off as, how dare you have standards?
Exactly.
How dare you expect something from me? You get what I'm saying?
I'm your queen, right? Like, you're supposed to just accept me how I am.
Meanwhile, they got standards up the ass. Meanwhile, they got standards up the ass. We can't have it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily we can't. I think we were raised to not have it, and it's like a culture shock when we come into our own and say, "No, I got standards."
Make her go to the
But
gym.
I would say we could have standards. They didn't want us to have standards. Of course, you're supposed to have standards. They never intended for us to have standards. That's why we're shamed on anything we call them out on. We're shamed because it's, how dare you take me as I am. Remember, everything with them is take them as they are. The babies, the package, if I'm fat, whatever it is, take me. Meanwhile, you hear them constantly talking about what they want.
And check this out.
No,
the bar
David.
is so low.
David.
The bar is so low. What do guys really want? What do they really want?
That is exact. That's
what
part
do
of the
guys
issue.
even really want?
David.
Okay,
Don't
when you
argue with
when
me.
you unmute, hold up, fam.
Look good.
Hold up. Cocaine, when you unmute yourself, you say what you want, because we've been on here talking. So as soon as you come on, you say what you want.
She dropped again.
I just want to say that, man, the standards, the proof is in the baby mamas, bro. I don't care what niggas say, bro. Niggas be talking about they fuck with bad bitches. You got to be this, you got to that. My nigga, I am never surprised when I see a nigga's baby mama for the first time, bro. We got to cut that shit. We got to start being honest, man.
What you saying, though, Ty? What you saying, though? Ty, what you saying, though? What are you saying exactly?
What I'm saying is niggas need to cut the shit, bro. It ain't no fucking standards. They got all the standards, and we have.
We're saying that.
Y'all
saying that
people's baby moms that you could tell.
Y'all saying that the bar is low. I'm saying that there is no bar.
Oh, okay. I might go for that. I could go for that. Okay, I can go for that.
Ty, let me be petty. She was fine before she got pregnant. Okay?
Nah,
you ain't seen her. So you didn't see her before she got pregnant.
Nah,
hey, L.A.R, that's been true in a lot of cases. No, I done seen some women fine as hell at first.
No,
she changed.
We know the chicks who was gonna be fine forever, dog. We knew them. They didn't end up being baby mamas to bum ass niggas.
Oh man,
yeah, but back what I was saying, like, what do guys really want though? Like, don't argue with me. You know, be in my corner, iron my clothes. This shit easy. Go to the gym.
Hold up, fam. I'm gonna stop you right there. We just talked about brothers not having standards, right? A lot of these, you said pussy, then you heard do my clothes. Here's the problem. Those are you put two different guys in the room, they're both gonna say those two different things.
Nah, bro. They both gonna agree on pussy.
Oh, my bad.
You right. What I'm saying, though, like, guys aren't even like, oh, I need you to. I don't know, man. I just feel like guys' standards, they don't even be requesting that much, and girls still can't do it. That's what I'm trying to say.
I agree. Because men are simple. Like, men are simple, easy to please. We're simple.
It'd be different if I was like, all right. In order for you to be with me, you got to climb this mountain, bro. And you got to be up there in 8 minutes. And if you don't get there in 8 minutes, we can't be anything. Like, dudes aren't even saying that shit. They're just saying, like, can we have a conversation? Can you dress sexy? Can you, like, do just the stuff that I want?
Bare minimum.
See what I'm saying? Not complain.
Can you be quiet and provide some peace for a nigga?
I'm gonna ask
how is this that hard?
Top 3 right there.
I'm gonna ask this
question.
Membership
is $10.
I'm gonna ask this question because the reason I'm talking about the arrogance and narcissism, I've noticed this for years. You know, when I've noticed when women get their stuff together is after a breakup, not during the relationship. So the underlying question could be, when she with you, she don't feel like she got to do shit for you.
Comfortable.
But if it's time to compete against other women, now I got to get on point. And
that's women too.
Right. I'm just saying, yeah, that is a general thing. But the thing about that is this. If you was together, if you was with her all that time when she was comfortable, what does that say? You never held her to a standard, your damn self.
Facts.
Right.
The standard is pussy. That's what I'm saying. Have you seen how niggas act when they get some pussy? Bro, a bitch don't need to do nothing.
They say a lot of men are one fine woman away from going back blue pill.
One blowjob away.
Yes, bro. It's like a trap, bro. Like, as soon as you get the pussy,
that neck right, you gonna get rid of that red pill, huh?
As soon as she give you that pussy, she gonna pull the string to the trap door, nigga. You gonna turn around and the door gonna fucking slam, nigga. You in there?
Hey, hold up. Like,
you gonna fall into the trap.
Hold on, fam. I'm gonna bring Kels in because it's been going in and out with her. So I'm gonna see if she can be heard first. So I'm just saying this out loud. So when I bring her in, she knows. So Kels, when you come in, unmute your thing and see if you could be heard. Because I know that a couple of times you couldn't be heard. So you there?
Hello?
Can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear
Hello?
us?
I can hear you.
You still can't hear us. Okay.
No,
say what you gotta say, Kels.
I can't hear.
Yo, sure, you might need to refresh, Kels. You might need to refresh your stream.
Nah, you good. We can hear you. Go ahead.
No, she might be behind, though. That's why it's delayed.
Hello?
We here.
Yeah.
You can hear.
You can hear me?
I can hear you. I'm guessing you can't hear everybody
Your
else.
shit raggedy.
Stop hating.
Go ahead, Cocaine. Go ahead.
I said that I have Section 8 wireless, so that's just how it is. You know what I mean? You got to jumpstart it. So, okay. So hello everybody on the panel and in the chat. I did not hear your question, L.A.R, and I would like to kind of chime in during the course of the conversation so that I don't just kind of come in and just start talking.
So would you say black women were narcissistic and arrogant? That's the topic.
I don't think she can hear you. She can hear the rest of us, but not you.
Who is you? Who is it that I can't hear?
Nick. Did you hear what Nick just said?
No.
Ask her, L.A.R. Ask her, L.A.R.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, I think
the question is just like the question in the title. Are our women narcissistic and arrogant? I brought that up because of the thing that happened today with Lonnie Love. Because when another woman who wasn't black was like, no, all men cheat, and she doubled down on it. It was like, okay, you got to be arrogant and narcissistic to just throw us as men under the bus when other people like everybody else is too. So that's why the question came up. But let me know what you got to say.
Yeah, I think that not all, let me just say not all, black women can be narcissistic and arrogant at the same time. And what we have a tendency to do is deflect so that we are not showing what our scars look like. So we try to blame the man, even though we are in control of our own actions and our own choices. So if you end up in, having a bad baby daddy or whomever, it's the choice. It's your choice. It was your choice. So not all black men are to blame for that, and I made a reference to some of the comments from the women in the chat, not all of the women, but they too were narcissistic, but I don't think that they realize what they are saying is in that category. So someone said, for example, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I think I
was just going to say just something to it. Go ahead.
Oh, I just want to ask, Cocaine, finish your statement, but I want to know when you're done, why do you think women are arrogant and narcissistic? But finish your statement and anybody else. But if when you get a chance, answer that for me. Why do you think they're arrogant and narcissistic?
Did you hear that, Cocaine?
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about answering that question.
Good question.
To be honest, we really shouldn't come off that way. So to specifically answer your question, I really don't think I have an answer for that at this time.
That's a good question.
I would have to really kind of think about.
Can I just comment real quick?
Hold on. We'll let her finish. Let her finish, man.
Yeah, let her finish.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. Nick, you up. Ben Meach, Ty, David.
All right, here we go.
I got the answer.
Ready? Listen. Black women got to start to understand that just if a black man is trying to correct you and he sees a flaw in you, that doesn't mean that he doesn't like love you or want to be with you. He just wants you to fix it and then so y'all can get through it together. I feel like a lot of times black women think that, well, if I show any flaws, he's gonna leave me, or that's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So then they deflect. And then what happens is they're not honest about how they really feel, because they feel like if they're honest, then they're gonna lose the guy. But that's just what I feel about it. So what I'm saying is that y'all gotta understand that just to see the correction and then make the correction. But yeah, that's all I had to say.
Meech.
Okay, so when you're talking about women in general, the more provisions they have, the more arrogant they're going to be. That's just the way it works when you're talking about women, right? Okay, so there's a power by proxy that black women have been given in this country primarily because they shit on black men to boost black women up. That's how you sow division within a group, right? Divide and conquer. So when you talk about why black women are so arrogant, it's because black men have been shitted on, and they get like welfare. Can somebody tell me what sense it makes to say the only way you get welfare is if that man isn't in the home, even if he's unemployed? Doesn't make any sense, right? But what it does do is sows division. Okay, a black woman is a double minority. She's black, but she's a female also, right? Now she's gonna get more jobs just based on them saving tax dollars. You don't give black men outlets on television, but you give it to black women, right? This arrogance here is them being in a group. That's why as a group, they feel like they're better than us, because outside forces have done everything they could to restrict our movements and what we can do, and done everything they could to boost black women. And that's where you're going to get the arrogance from. They believe that they did it. Black women as a group believe that they have done something, and not that something has been done for them.
Yeah, and another thing.
Hold on for a second. Phil, you in the back chat, but I need you to hop off so Chaos could come back, because
good point.
She's been, her Section 8 wireless is. Oh, you got Sister George here too. This works. This is gonna work.
Yeah, strong points, Meech.
Yep.
You want
Ty? Because if Chaos
Sister
come back,
George.
I'm gonna need one of y'all to drop off. That way
I'll drop off. Let me say this real quick, bro.
Okay.
This why I fuck with Kales, because she's smart. She know that there's not a safe way to answer that question. You know what I'm saying? And she slid out on it. So
she'll be back.
The truth is, women have to function on that. You know what I'm saying? It's built into the vanity aspect of their existence. They have to carry some kind of not even that. It's just women who understand men know that we don't care about, the things that we care about are things that will make them want to be arrogant or seek some kind of arrogance. You know what I'm saying? We value that in women. It's just some women weaponize it and try to use it in the wrong way. But yeah, women like that shit. They brag to each other how they do men. They brag to each other. You know what I'm saying? Like
so you said Tom City. So you saying they like the manipulation game? It's a rush for them. They get off on it. Basically, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, bro! Look at Lonnie.
Trying to so the listeners can hear
it. Yeah, look at Lonnie, big fat frumpy ass. She shouldn't have no fucking opinion on anything.
Well, let's see what Sister George has to say. Go ahead.
Well, Sister George, can you hear?
I can hear everybody.
I just got one thing to say to you before you start.
What's that?
Thank you for the brainwashing.
The brainwash?
Oh yeah, I was listening today to you, old boy's Asian wife, come on y'all panel. She was very classy.
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
SKC's wife came on. Oh
yeah, man. Hilariously. She can make collard greens.
Yes. I enjoyed them though. I don't really have anything against other races of women, so to speak. My whole thing with black men, a lot of y'all aren't used to women being real Southern belles to y'all, so to speak. And so y'all will take, just because a woman is being nice, y'all don't look at that niceness as manipulative. And so I just my whole thing to y'all is, if you saying you going the other way, that's fine, go. But just beware that all women have a certain nature. And just because a woman is nice to you doesn't mean she won't take you for everything you have.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because it's part of what I was trying to talk about is, when I'm talking about how women being arrogant and narcissistic, the narrative always comes from a point where somebody got to get got, or somebody's a victim. It's never really you know, if you're doing dirt, it's always an underlying reason of why you did dirt. It's not that you effed up individual. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Time Bandit, I'm gonna need you to step out, fam, because what I'm trying to get Kels back here because I want to make it a little bit more
Hey, I'm gonna
Co-ed.
fall back, man. I'll be
co-ed.
listening.
Yeah,
I'll fall back, man.
you got it, fam.
Well, to answer that question, are Black women narcissistic? And what
Yo,
was the
LAR.
other?
What you say, Nick? Okay, you all right? You got it, Kels. I'm not Kels, George. I'm sorry, Sister George.
It's okay. Y'all said, are Black women narcissistic? And what was the other part?
Arrogant.
Arrogant. I actually think that depends on. I don't think all of us are narcissistic and arrogant, but the more money a woman makes and the better she looks, I think she would have cause to be, so to speak.
Wait,
Um,
wait. Not to interrupt you. I'm sorry, Sister George. When you're done, I want to ask you that same question I asked Cocaine Kills. Why do you think women are arrogant and narcissistic? I'm sorry.
well,
Finish your statement.
with the, well, I kind of feel like you do have certain women from the hood, but it depends on how they were treated in the hood that the ones that turned out
That's true. Sorry.
real arrogant. But like the narcissism thing, I kind of feel like that probably stems from some abandonment issues at an early age, because when a person is very empathic, like they become a victim all the time, or they become narcissists. They either become one of the other. So you'll have the woman that every time she gets with a guy, and she probably was a nice woman at first, the guys cheated on her, they dogged her out, and she'd be more of the empath. But then you have the ones that have started to be like, you know what, I'm gonna get these dudes before they get me. And I kind of feel like that well, in my own research, I feel like it stems from abandonment issues and uh, maybe some child molestation or some type of sexual abuse that probably happened that was never resolved.
Where George go? I was trying to sing back up real quick.
Oh, you ain't part of the Temptations. We ain't put you in.
A heart
L.A.R.
is a house.
See, no. See, you choir boy. You ain't deep enough. Choir boy, you gotta get it.
Stupid.
I put the link in there for Kendra because like I said, I would just make it a little bit more co-ed because I'll pull myself off of this joint just so everybody could chop it up.
No, Bandit, you're going to drop down for a minute, Bandit. We need L.A.R. up here. Drop down for a minute, Bandit.
No.
All right, G. All right.
Cause she ain't. Okay, hold on.
Just coming to sing back up, man. George ain't even up here.
You know. All right.
Chaos, I'm gonna need you to drop off too, fam. We're gonna get it together, but on another one.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry, before I leave, I do want to answer that question. I think that the system has allowed women to have this false ideology that they are arrogant and they are narcissists because one false move and they can call the police. They know that they have the upper hand on any situation as it relates to a Black man. So, in my opinion, that has a lot to do with it.
Good answer.
Yeah, I had to think about it for a second, but
that's what I was looking for. Good answer. Keep going.
Oh, that's raw.
I know it ain't. She's right, but go ahead, Kels. Let her finish. Go ahead.
Okay. So again, even you kind of switch to another lane into corporate America where you see Black women in these high positions, but they are not hiring Black men. And again, that goes to that comes with a lot of arrogance because they know that they have leverage. And that's what I see arrogance coming from Black women and the narcissistic way that they come across is because they do want to have that upper hand. So they do not encourage the Black man to go to, finish college or to pick up a trade or to, encourage his masculinity. I heard someone on the panel talk about, she doesn't, I think he said she doesn't ask me what I want, or she doesn't know what I want. She doesn't cook or clean. I think it was Nicholas or somebody that was mentioning that. And the fact of the matter is that you should not have to ask a woman to do womanly activities. And if you do have to ask a woman to cook, to clean, to have sex, to do the things that a woman is supposed to bring to the table, then you are not, you do not have a woman that's operating as 100% woman in 100% of her femininity.
Or if I may, so then is it safe to say, Kales, then the enabling of the system or society and a woman's own selfishness breeds what we're talking about? Is that basically what you're trying to say in a nutshell too?
That is what I'm saying. It is fueling.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Those
So that
two
selfishness and that
categories.
enabling. So the selfishness and an enabling brings about the arrogance and the narcissism. So a combination of the woman and the system, combination of them both, the system and the woman. Okay. Good answer.
Yeah.
I take that.
I mean, I was listening to someone talk about a football player who got someone pregnant, and she didn't even know who the baby's father was, but she knew that he had money. The baby hadn't even been born, and she's up in child support. So the thing about it is that there's a correlation between Black women and the system. And there's a correlation, and as a result, you have arrogance and you have narcissists. You take that system away, and they're going to have to be dependent on.
Hello. Now we know who the real. Now we know what the main one of the main perpetrators is. The goddamn system. I totally agree.
Here we go, bro.
No, it still falls.
Hey, you can't get around. This a woman telling on herself, nigga. You can't interrupt that. You can't argue with that.
Well, no,
What are you telling on herself?
No, I mean she's telling the truth. She's saying like, hey, it is and she's admitting to what the problem is. So Ty, I don't want Ty City to, and I'm not. He can have his opinion. I'm just fucking with him, but I don't want him to watch my language.
Yeah, but I don't want to deflect though. I don't want to. I really don't want to deflect. The burden is on the Black woman.
Exactly.
It is her choice to go to child support court before the child is even born. It's her choice to not choose the Black man who has the credentials for that position, but overlook him to hire a white man in his place. It is her position to look at authority figures such as the police, such as school teachers, and so forth, and submit to those. Shout out to Kendra. Submit to those figures, but not submit to the Black man.
I'm going to go buy me a cake.
Hold on. Kendra, if you in the chat, because I know you was here. When you just say you want to come on whenever, I'm dropping a link in there for you.
What I wanted to say to David was the system can be all the system it wants to be, but the woman has the power not to utilize the benefits of that system against anybody.
I agree. My only point was, don't get me wrong, you're absolutely right. I agree. Like I say all the time, you don't like if you're given a messed up choice, you can choose the choice where you still have dignity, integrity, and not sell your partner out. So I understand that concept. My whole point was getting everybody to recognize all the players involved, because understand something. You can't fully rectify or fix a situation if you don't know who's all involved. So of course I definitely was never letting the woman off the hook, because again, she's really the main, she's the conduit into the bullshit. But make no mistake, the system knows that enabling her, that's why I said they attack us differently. They attack us by keeping us restrained. They attack them by giving them too much freedom. It's a genius concept at the end of the day. It's a genius brainwashing, divide and conquer concept. I call it diabolical genius.
Well, if I can add something.
White boys fighting it too, bro. That's
of course, the system is designed because at the end of the day, the people who are rich who design this system, they designed it for them to get money. The rich, this is really for the rich. So of course, some of them are going to fall into the machine, but make no mistake, more of us do.
Right. I just do want to make it, you know what I'm saying? Some diabolical
no excuses. No excuses. Yeah. No, we just point out what it is.
Yeah.
Hold up.
So in terms of I'm just going to take that first phrase of this particular sentence. If Black men are doing the abandoning. See, the thing is that I don't believe that Black men intentionally want to walk away from their family.
Right.
I mean, and I'm saying this from experience. So it is, I don't know how much I would be able to take from someone constantly telling me that I'm not shit, that,
Right.
your mom is not shit, and, you didn't do this and you didn't do that, and constantly hearing the negativity come from someone that you're supposed to love. And mind you, you haven't even gotten to the child. It's just all about her. It's selfish mentality, in my opinion. You know,
Narcissism.
yes. I mean, it's they're solely focused on them and not even the child. I mean, if you break it down, it's really not about the child. It's the fact that he didn't give her attention. He didn't give her $2 to pick to play quick pick or whatever it is. He didn't do the things that she wanted him to do, and also she cannot control him. And that's
Right.
the thing. I
I
mean,
want to
black
go
women.
after you, Kelly.
Hey,
Okay,
Ty, drop off real quick. I'm gonna let Uru come on.
Yeah, just put me in the bed.
Okay, I got you.
go ahead, Sister George.
Okay. Now I kind of feel like a lot of problems stem from the hookup culture. So if we meet one night, we have sex, a lot of friends with benefit situations, the person becomes pregnant. There hasn't really been any groundwork or a really good foundation for how a lot of kids are coming into the world now. And so there's not any real sense of camaraderie between the people that are having sex. There's attraction and they go and they have sex, but I don't really feel like there's any real togetherness. And so it makes it much easier for a woman to go and put a man on child support. And it makes it much easier for a man to leave the woman because they really didn't know each other before they hooked up, had kids, and did all this stuff. So I feel like the hookup culture kind of contributes to a lot of that too.
Hold up for one
Right.
second. Hold up for 1 second. Chaos, what you got to say, fam? Because you've been here.
Yeah, I'm here. It's amazing how I still hear some men still complain about the women about the shortcomings of the black man today, and even me now stepping into a new decade and this new year that we try to move even beyond this because it's not it's gonna be a circular argument. And then I know a lot of dudes want to continue to have this discussion, and it's cool. But I look at more that it has to be more resolved and solutions move forward, or strategies of this moving forward, because it becomes the same thing like the dudes that's complain about the what do they call those TV shows back in the 90s? It's almost like this, but in a male's perspective, and obviously men, we have to always deal with the problem solvers. Because women, at the end of the day, they don't have that capability of problem solving a lot of things. So we have to do it, unfortunately.
Okay, hold up, Chaos. I'm glad you said that. Sister George and Cocaine, I'm gonna ask the question. Uru, matter of fact, Uru, what you got to say, and then I'll ask the question.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be on the panel with you all. Hi, Cocaine Kills and Sister
Hey,
George.
Prince.
Hey,
Pleasure
Black
to
Girl.
talk to you all directly. I think kind of when we talk about culture, we don't talk enough about history, about how a culture or how cultures are formed. The biggest maker of culture is war and conquering. Uh, these folks come in, they maybe kill many of the men, they enslave those that remain. Of course, they bed the women. That conquered people then adopt the practices of the conquerors,
Good point,
and
Uru.
then of course eventually that new faction is or that new group is conquered by an even stronger group of men, typically, and so on and so on. All of what we do is a product of, at some point, our forebears being forced to do certain things by stronger, more capable, smarter people. We're here. Much of our culture, our Black culture, much of it, and I guess you could almost even argue most of it, is to some degree a product of our forebears having been conquered and compelled to adopt a certain language, to eat a certain food, to live a certain way, to talk a certain way. Of course, we're strong people still, so we made the very best of it as best we could, but we're inevitably affected by whatever the larger majority society does with respect to its laws, with respect to its court decisions, its media. You know, when I look at the behavior of women, I well, here's my view of women, and you know, I've been married, I've raised women into adulthood, and what I've observed of women, they're typically moved by two things that a man must be able to be able to evoke from her. He must be able to evoke some degree of power and or fear. If that woman does not fear what you are capable of doing, or if she does not in some way rely upon what you're capable of doing or what you're doing, then you will not have any voice over her, not of any significant degree. And of course, everything that has been done in this society has been to undermine Black men being able to evoke power and especially fear from women. You know, we talk a lot, we complain a lot about what the things that Black women do, but you know, the truth of the matter is a lot of stuff they do because they don't fear getting popped in their mouth.
Right.
I mean, it's really just that simple. And I'm not saying that to say that we should be beating women. I'm not saying that at all.
No,
but when you think about it, you know, men, we don't do certain things to each other because we, in the back of our mind, fear what that other man would or could do to us. So we don't disrespect each other as blatantly. Most of us that are sane don't disrespect each other as blatantly and as overtly as our women will, because we know what the retaliatory step will be. And it doesn't matter whether one man is 300 pounds and the other man is 150 pounds. If that 150 pounds guy come to that 300 pound with some bullshit, then all society accepts the fact that that 150 pound guy deserves to get his ass beat.
So,
Black women, hold on. I'm gonna use that to ask the ladies a question real quick.
Okay, because I had a question for him too.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna ask this question. Yeah, I'm gonna ask the question real quick, and then you answer. Then you can ask him a question. No big deal. From what he said and what Chaos said previously, when it comes to solutions, I'm not sure that Black men think, even if they fit all of the solutions about getting them power, getting wealth, changing the culture, I don't think that even with that, Black men look at Black women like, you're still gonna act up. Because when I look at all the reality shows with Black women, these are Black women who were with quote unquote powerful type of men, who were with rich men, who were with men with resources, and they still just acted up.
That's what I say.
So
you know why?
Hold on.
You know why?
Hold on. No, wait. Because Sister Joy's gonna go and she gotta ask her question. But we gonna move it along. We're gonna get to it.
Okay. My question was, do Black men hold these women accountable? And I'm gonna answer it. If you have a powerful man and the woman is still acting a damn fool, that man isn't holding her accountable, because when a man holds a woman accountable, that woman knows what's in bound and what's out of bounds, and she stays true to that when a man holds her accountable. When you have weak men, you end up with strong masculine ass women who tend to end up running the household and everything else, and those men don't usually have any control, at least in my opinion.
Let me just interject right quick.
Hold on, because because Cocaine was in the chat. She wanted to answer a question, so go let her do it, and then you got it, and then Chaos, and then Uru.
No, I think her question was directed to Black Uru. So you know, he can answer that question, and then I can go after him.
Well, can I just say this right quick? I just wanted to say that the men that do push back on women and do demand, a lot of women call them overbearing. But continue.
Well, get with the women that will fall under your program, and that has a lot to do with it, because
that's the
if you
reason of the whole conversation. Where are they?
What I'm saying is, if
hold on, let everybody be heard.
Okay.
If you have a woman that's uncooperative and she's unwilling to go with your program, get with a woman who is.
Easier said than done.
All right, so
change your demographic.
Well, to address.
Hold on. Cocaine, I got you. You answer the question, Uru, then Chaos. I got you.
Well, I'll go back to what I said earlier: power and fear. You know, when you say hold someone accountable, you must have the power to do that. They must fear the consequences of your decision in the process of making them accountable. Facts. If she has nothing at all to fear, if either you taking resources away from her or imposing yourself on her physically or leaving her and thus creating some dire and difficult circumstances for her, if you cannot create either or some combination of those circumstances for that woman, you cannot hold her accountable, even if you wish to do so.
Okay. Cocaine, you got it, fam.
Okay. So it really, I kind of look at it a little differently. Specifically speaking, in terms of the Black woman, there's no reason for her to be unruly. Again, it goes back to what we were taught. If you were taught initially to submit to the man, then you should not be unruly in the first place. So in addition, but I do understand what Sister George is saying, but at the same time, it's a matter of going into the situation, respecting the man and submitting to the man, and not because of the circumstances are different. You feel like you need to insert masculinity by degrading him and showing him up and so forth. But going back to, there was a question in terms of my statement relating to the system that someone had made a comment about, and I wish that you could pull it back up, L.A.R. But basically,
how long ago did I put it up?
It was like maybe 2 or 3 minutes, but basically, it was alluding to the fact that when I referenced the system, I was only talking about what was it, government assistance or whatnot, and the lady had said that, what if you're successful? So I gotta look at the statement again. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is it's twofold, right? Number one, this is what you call, and this is no shade, but this is what you call humble bragging. So basically, it is somebody who is saying that I am successful. So she wants to let us know that she's successful. She does not qualify for that. But let me just help you with this. The system is the system. So when I say the system, it means that, you know, you have the upper hand as a Black woman because the Black man is not looked at as a whole person. So if he, like Black Ruru was saying, if he hauls off and says something to you, or if he just acts out in any type of way, all you have to do is call 911. That's the system too. And then also, I see a lot of successful women in child support court. So don't, for one, you know, a lot of Black women think that because you say certain words that you don't fit in that category. But unfortunately, all Black women can fit into the category of the system. So again, keep in mind that unless you do not actually use the system in any type of way, that means that when you are in corporate America, that you do not overlook your Black men, knowing that they are qualified, that you don't stick your nose up at the Black men because you are in a higher position and you have the leverage over him and so forth. So I'm sorry to say, but you too can fit into that category.
Right, because it's a mentality. This is a mentality we're talking about. Nobody's above a mentality.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, the mentality of the, you know, I don't, well, I mean, I think there are differences amongst women. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe they say there are different levels of testosterone amongst different races of women. So maybe that is a factor in terms of how there may be differences in the behavior of women. But I don't think I don't think biology is the primary issue. I think it is that Black women, unlike most other women, their men do not really have any power over them. You know, when Cocaine Kells was talking about a few moments ago about, you know, how someone is raised and how they behave. Well, in my view, it starts with the fact that, you know, nearly 80% of our children are being raised out of wedlock. So,
okay, hold
you know,
on,
so
hold
it's
on,
kind
Black
of
woman.
so initially, well, I just to finish the point,
Okay.
the problem starts there, right?
I,
And then all the other problems that come from there.
I might be wrong when I say this, but I'm gonna put this out there. I think one of the issues, even with that talking point, even with the power talking point in general, is it can come off that you're telling Black men, well, basically, you're gonna have to hog tie and wrestle into shape now. Because
they shouldn't have to do that.
Just let me finish. I'm gonna keep it short, because when we do this on one end, and I heard T.I. say this recently, if I give her everything, you know, I'm controlling. You get what I'm saying? If I don't provide, I'm not a man. So for these women to respect you, what you got to do is you got to provide everything and basically put the fear of God in it that you might wind up having to knock her head off so she can act right. And I think there are certain Black men who are like, listen, you do realize when I go out into society, this is why I'm feared in society, because everybody wants to be a bully, but they want to call a cop. So now I got to have the same issue when I go home.
Right.
Well, what I would say is this is a multi-generational issue. You know, I don't, you know, if the women amongst the adult women, frankly, and I would say starting from maybe hell as early as 16 or 17, you know, I don't know if there's much really hope in changing most of them.
Well,
you know, I think you have to address this problem from a multi-generational standpoint, and I think you have to figure out a way to especially get your sons away from their mothers very early in life.
Hold on, because that's the difficult part. But Chaos, you haven't spoken in a while. Then David, and then Chaos, and then Sister George. Well, let somebody jump off, because I'm gonna put the link in here for BGS to come on.
Yay!
Well, you gotta think about it. I think you mentioned how most, let's say, sisters, or I think you're assuming L.A.R. about how they're with these rich and powerful men and they still have that mouth or somewhat. Well, obviously, if a sister is in that direction, still having that mouth with this so-called non-Black man, it tells you who she really wants, basically. So it doesn't really matter the money is up. Now, a lot of people could agree or disagree, but if you sit there and say you want to be secure in the bag, comfort all stuff, and you got to look outside of your race to get that, and then still have that energy, it's telling right there. And that's how I see it. Besides all the other mental issues you got.
You guys, go ahead, sister. What's up?
Okay, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna jump off so BGS can get on.
No, you know what? If y'all want to stay, y'all stay, because I don't want to have a panel where it's unbalanced with no women's point of view.
Right. Gotcha. If
you gotta go, you can go though. I ain't tripping.
I got you. Okay, with the respect thing, I don't feel like a woman has to be hog-tied and this, that, and the third. Demanding your respect could be simple as, look, these are my standards. If you're not willing to abide by my standards, I'm out. And if you have enough Black men demanding their respect from their women, like, okay, with SYSBM, a lot of reasons why I don't discourage the movement is because at some point, if the men are leaving and they're saying that we can't even get our women to be nice to us, we can't even get our women to cater to us, so we'll go to women that will. At some point, the women are going to have to look. We'll take a look at ourselves. At some point, we're going to have to take a look at ourselves and say, okay, well, yeah, maybe I can be a little nicer. Maybe I can curb my attitude. But it really does, as far as the respect thing, it really does go back to the man demanding his respect. If you can't get respect in your own house and you're dealing with a woman that doesn't respect you, she's not going to just wake up one day and start respecting you without any consequences. And so, black men have to not be afraid to leave or not put up with anybody's bullshit, especially if they're providing and taking care of a household and they're doing what they're supposed to do by that woman. If and that says that you're valuable and you're not going to take anybody's shit. But if you're sitting around acting like that's what you have to deal with, you're not going to get any respect doing that. So that's what I had to say.
You mentioned hog tying. I don't know if that maybe you were referring something to what I had said earlier.
No, L.A.R. had mentioned saying that, you know, for a woman to respect them, you basically got to hog time and stuff like that. No, I don't feel like you have to do that. I just feel like, you know what? If you're not getting the respect that you feel like you deserve from your woman, the woman that you're taking care of and protecting, leave. Good black men, I ain't gonna say y'all don't come a dime a dozen, but successful, decent black men, it's
the problem, Sister George, is, you know, we've been raised by black women, so a lot of us have been acculturated to a level of disrespect. Most of it we don't even know is actually happening, and we're getting it from our mother, we're getting it from our grandmothers, we're getting it from our sisters, we're getting it from our vastly female teachers and administrators, you know, and it's not even just kind of a one-sided I hate you kind of disrespect. Actually, a lot of it, I think a lot of women, they think much of this is a kind of a loving type of thing while they're doing it, which actually makes it even more damaging than if you just kind of just blatantly beat us, because it's very confusing. And if you've gone through this your whole childhood into adolescence, so forth, of this mix of sort of love but yet diminishment or whatever. So yeah, when you enter in a relationship, a marriage or whatever, you've already adapted to assuming or presuming that you're going to receive some level of that kind of behavior, even from the best of women. And so you don't know how badly you're being disrespected, especially over time, until you get to a point where it's clear you've been kind of damaged by it, and you start to lash out, or you start to become unproductive in other areas, or if you're fortunate enough to encounter the manosphere, where you realize just how deep the rot is.
Hold on for 1 second, Uru. BGS, you got the floor. Whatever you want to say, do it.
You know what? After looking, you know, I've been trying to figure this out, man, since I've been like 22 or 23 years old, and this is damn near 40 years, right? I've come to the conclusion that it's baked in the cake. It's not. I don't think black women do this intentionally. I think they do it unconsciously. And the thing is, what I'm afraid of, what I'm coming to the conclusion is that not that they won't change, is that they can't change, because it's too far, it's too deeply embedded in them. You know, even when you are providing and protecting and all that kind of stuff, and you're doing for them, and you are a good black man, even if you're firm on them, you can see them bite their tongue, you know, trying to hold it back, because it's so embedded in them that you can't get it out. And the thing is, and every black man knows, as soon as you let go of the reins, you're gonna, you know, that creature is gonna come out of them. It just is. And the only thing that tamped it down, you know, and I've said this in the past, the only thing that tamped it down in the past is that the mothers trained their daughters to be wives. So for the most part, even my mother, you know, my mother's 80 years old. Her being a wife is on automatic. So whether she respected my father, liked him, disliked him, it didn't matter, because she was going to do the same thing whether he was there or not. So the family worked in that sense. But we let go of that training black women to be wise long ago, back in the 50s and 60s. And so now it's so baked into the cake that black women are really confused because they don't understand it, because it worked for my great grandmother, it worked for my grandmother, it worked for my mother. How come it's not working for me? And now the mothers are looking at their boys choosing different women. Why? Because now they've got exposed to a different culture, different cultures of women. So wait a minute, how come you treat me so much better than my own mother's sisters, or even the girls I'm actually encountering? Even though all those girls should act the exact same way, right? So if you go all in the same neighborhood, go in the same school, you should be pretty uniform. So why are the white girls, the Asian girls, the Hispanic girls treating me with so much more respect? Okay, and I actually did that on my last video. I was saying that I watched a homeless white woman and a homeless black man sitting on a bench together, okay, every day, drinking a beer together. And she was holding his hand and treating him with respect and deference without him doing it. He couldn't do anything for her. And you're telling me that it takes all of this kind of stuff for a black woman who says that she loves you, says that she cares about you, says that she has your back, not to look at you with respect? Really?
Can I think BGS made a very, very good point in saying that a lot of us do these types of things and don't even know that we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But where's the correction come from? And you now don't get me wrong, I would honestly say that I was one of those women, but it really took me coming to a lot of Facebook groups to kind of listen to what you guys have been saying, and then coming to the manosphere and kind of seeing it being echoed here too.
Mm-hmm.
It took a lot of healing on my part. I had a rough childhood, so it took a lot of healing on my part. But and it was self-correction for me.
Yeah.
But I'm asking y'all on a grand scale, how do you feel like the women can correct the behavior?
Scott, ask yourself, what motivated you to change?
Well, I'm a single mother. Even though I had my child late, it gets to a point. Okay, I want a good, successful man. I want a man that's good to me. I want to be happy. But I've never really been. My friends would say I wasn't really masculine in the first place. But at the same token, I've dealt with men where they actually liked that I had an attitude. They liked the pushback.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that I dealt with a lot of weak men. And so then as you get...
They weren't weak, baby. They just conditioned. We're conditioned. How many black men could be with black women on a mass scale if we weren't conditioned to accept that kind of stuff?
That's true. That's true. Well, I won't say weak, but it would be like if I was too nice, or doting or something like that, then it would be little things to piss me off. So I would go off, and that was attractive to them. When I'm mad, it was attractive to them. And so, like I said, what motivated me, I didn't want to become a single mother with 2 different baby dads, 3 different baby daddies and stuff like that. I didn't want to do that. And really was like, okay, I want a decent black man, but I want a healthy relationship. But a lot of things had to come from, I had a lot of tragedies happen to me at one time. So that kind of spiraled me on an upward, like, okay, I want to be a better person for me, but I do want my son to witness a healthy relationship between me and a black man. And that was the thing.
Unfortunately, trauma, it very often takes some major change in our lives to provoke us to make some changes to improve ourselves for the better. And unfortunately, that's probably what it's going to take for most Black women to have even a shot at getting better. They are going to have to lose their men in mass. They are going to have to suffer some extreme economic and or social losses of some sort in order to provoke some of them, hopefully young enough in their lives where they can actually make a change. Because there is a certain point in all of our lives where, you know, the effort required to change is much greater than what we can actually bear to do. So when you mentioned earlier SYSBM, you know, it's an interesting thing to me because of course I support it as well, but I also foresee us not being the same people a couple of generations from now.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing, Laurel?
I think time and evolution will tell.
No, I asked you a question. Well, do you think that's
well?
a good
No,
thing or a bad thing?
my point is this. I think, you know, in terms of biology, I think there is no right or wrong. I think ultimately, if we can be together and be productive together, so be it. If we can't be together productively, then so be it.
In other words, how long has the black family been in dysfunction in this country?
Well, I mean, from its inception.
It's inception.
I mean,
so,
yeah.
So, in other words, so what you're saying is, would you rather there be some kind of change, or would you rather we continue another 200 years in this dysfunction?
Well, I mean, so I guess what you're saying, or I guess if I were to look at it pessimistically, I would have to conclude that it's basically sort of, you know, hopeless in the sense that since we started out sort of a failed concept, that it is not likely we can become better than what we have been from our beginning.
Yeah, we know the thing is it's funny, is that and I knew this, you know, this so-called social online gender war that went through Facebook and Twitter and now on YouTube, we're going back and forth, is basically black men's fruitless attempt to convince black women to modify their behavior, not change it because they can't change, but to modify their behavior. And after what, 20 years, this is as far as we've gotten, and black women still are setting their feet.
Yeah, I mean, it is bad, you know, because like I said, I mean, I've you know, I've been married and I've raised 2 daughters into adulthood.
Yeah, I got 2 adult daughters. Yeah, you know that.
And even like this Christmas, you know, we had arguments about these and related issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's not even just the sort of out of wedlock type thing. I mean, these problems and issues exist amongst all of us. You know, most of my friends have been married long term, and most of us are kind of the same. We kind of sort of for the greater good, so to speak, kind of stayed together, hung in together to, you know, but yeah.
I mean, no matter what class of woman I've dated, and I've dated, you know, 92s on down to the 85s, right? Every black woman I've ever dated, ever wanted me, always wanted you to get on her program. That's the first thing. Right. From initial encounter. Go ahead, Doug.
Give me 1 second. Triple X, you've been here a while. You got anything to say, fam?
Yeah, peace to the panel. I just wanted to jump in and say L.A.R. very good discussion here, man. As always, it's quality content, man. Peace to everybody. I'll just say this. I've seen some very good points raised. Black Guru, BGS has raised some good points. I agree with a lot of them. We generally, when I do meet new black women, that is primarily their first thing is they want you to get on their program.
Yep.
You know, long term, like if they're interested in you of anything past 1 or 2 dates, they want you to get on their program. That's big facts, man. And a lot of people overlook that. And for me, I mean, that doesn't work. You know, I'm doing my own thing. Hey, you can only get on my ship. You know, hey, we going to the moon. You know, and hey,
Triple X, you know, and I always love your coach, Triple X. I'm flying in and stealing them motherfuckers. You know that. He's that dude. He's that dude. But the thing is, even a dude like Triple X, you know, who's got, you know, who's game tight, he's probably money tight and game tight. You find yourself having to sell your program. Okay. I mean, you really have to sell your program to that woman. You know, if you want her on your program, you have to go over and above to sell your program with her. You know, you have to climb that fence. You got to keep her happy. You got to make her laugh. You got to entertain her. You know, you gotta layer right, because if you don't layer right, then all that stuff goes for naught. Just for her to get on your program, okay?
Yeah.
And you got to keep doing it to keep her on your program.
Yeah. You got to jump through a lot of hoops.
You got to jump through a lot of hoops on a program.
Yep.
And the thing is that and what I'm saying, and these are the women that say they want to be on your program.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Yep. Yep.
They pick you because you that dude, and you still have to jump through the hoops.
Definitely, 100%, BGS, 100%.
And it's interesting that the program thing, that's what black women don't
Black Uru, hold on for 1 second, because David and Sister ain't spoken a minute.
Okay, let him go.
My bad.
It's all good.
Oh no, I was enjoying the back and forth. What I would just interject right quick and get the floor right back. What I've learned, first of all, to fix the problem, it's easy. I could say it's easier said than done, because it's really not. It's just recognizing that all these years we've been here, women have been subconsciously conditioned to be these manipulative creatures, and then recognizing the way you reverse any curse is to do the opposite. So if arrogance and narcissism is the problem, then I would think humility and sacrifice would be the answers.
On whose part?
On the woman. If she wants, if we talk about a woman trying to figure out how she got caught up like this, like you said about her not even being aware of the subconscious conditioning, the first thing is to recognize that these women have to recognize that they've been subconsciously conditioned to act and think this way. And then the counter agent to which is L.A.R's topic, narcissism and arrogance, the counter agents to arrogance and narcissism, I would say, would be humility and sacrifice.
But the thing is, if you know anything about culture, right? And Europe is going through this right now. When you bring in a foreign population, it takes at least 3 generations to actually get the desired result. At least 3 generations, right? Of active socialization, parents, children, and then even grandchildren. It takes at least 3 generations to get it right. So if you have, and the longer the group has been socialized, the harder it is to get them to actually reverse field. So in other words, if we started right now, because the adults are too late. Okay, anybody over the age of 18 is too late. They've been basically, it's just like going in and fixing a BIOS in a computer. Thing is, you have to scrap the whole thing, right? Because it's baked in the cake. You have to start with a new BIOS. Even if you put in a new BIOS starting with Generation Z's, right? It's going to take 3 generations for the desired result. Okay, can the black community as it sits withstand 3 generations of reprogramming?
Do we really have a choice?
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I mean, you
can have a choice, but the thing is, do you have time to do it?
No, what I'm asking is, if it takes 3 generations to rectify this, what else can we do but start working on that and then hope in the 3rd generation it sticks?
Okay, you can start it. The thing is, you have to start it in mass. Can you start it in mass? We haven't even convinced black women in this date and time that they have a problem.
True.
And we're not even talking about all the laws and the courts and the judicial decisions that are going to continually back their play.
True.
So even if we do make an earnest collective effort to compel them to do something right, everything else is going to back them to do the opposite thing. It is going to punish us in every earnest attempt we make to make things better.
Can I ask a probably silly but straight up question that we all probably had an answer to? If this was black men's behavior with black women, would the black community say, take one for the team?
Nope. If this was us, they'd make us take they'd make us take it. They tell us to take it.
They're telling us to take one for the team right now.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they've always told us to take one for the team. That's
I was gonna say y'all have took one for the team.
That's our whole history. We took one for the team in the Civil War. We took one for the team in the Spanish-American War, World War I, World War II, Vietnam. I mean, black men have always taken one for the team.
Hold on, Uru, because I need, of course, BGS, of course, and Sister George on this one specifically. So what should black women do to take one for the team at this particular point?
Black women are gonna have to watch their men walk away to other races of women. If you really want to see a collective change, a big change, and if that takes 3 generations or whatever, then it is what it is. But it's gonna have to be black men demanding their respect, and until y'all demand y'all's respect, nothing's gonna change. And if it takes walking away to do that, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take tragedy. Is that what you're saying, Sister George? It's gonna take tragedy for y'all to get together?
Because and I stated this before. You can sit here and tell us that you're gonna do this, that, and the third, but 9 times out of 10, we get y'all back in the bed. Cook y'all a good meal and cuss y'all ass out and send y'all ass to work the next day, and the problem still there. So,
and that's the real tragedy of things, because we love and want y'all that much.
I mean, the thing is, what it comes down to, and this is, I ain't even saying this because really, I'm really getting tired of the discussion because, like I said, 2020, I'm taking heads. Really comes down to, and I've said this before, do black women want the shit to change? If they don't, so be it. And I don't think they do.
We don't.
They're not. Yes.
We don't really, being that we've been in advantageous in this situation for the most part. No, we're not gonna want things to change because we've been on top. We've been the ones being catered to. We've been the ones. Men have actually been the ones in a position of submission, in my opinion. So no, black women are not gonna want things to change, but that's gonna be on y'all, to invoke it.
It's not on that. It's not on that.
I'm saying.
When have women changed a society?
Women haven't changed.
Women, it is not within the capability of black women to do what we want them to do.
Who they have to accept the change. What's the part you don't get?
They're going to accept the change.
They either they're forced to, or they have to want to accept the change. In most societies, women accept the change because it's advantageous to the society. They accept it
because the men have the power to compel.
Basically, in other words, if you're out, black women have corrected their behavior because they don't want to starve. Okay, so they accept the change. Black women are not these mindless robots that don't have brains. They know good from bad. I always know that a woman, especially a black woman, is going to find out which side of the bread the butter's on. Okay, they always do. They're not stupid. And the thing is that if especially in the condition that we're in, especially as black men, if this is the society that black women want, and they've been handed power that you can't wrest from them. Okay, you have 2 choices: either you accept them as they are, or you move on. One of the 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say, black women definitely have agency. A lot of these 92s and 89s, or even 100 octane chicks that have these corporate jobs or upper end jobs, they know how to act there.
But they have been bred. They have been bred to see themselves as being superior to you.
Yes.
So only 1 or 2 things are going to happen. They're either going to continue to do what they're doing, or things have to get worse enough for them to pretend that they don't think that they're superior.
Hold on for 1 second. Hold on for 1 second, fellas. David, Triple X, any other fellas on the panel, don't matter. Can y'all answer this question that Danique put up here?
Okay, let me see.
No, what does it say? Oh, will a black man allow us?
It depends on what her past is. What is your past?
Yeah, what exactly is your past?
Why don't she come up and ask us directly?
Right.
Okay, well, Danique, you willing to come up? Because when you ask BGS, they start scattering like roaches. So let me ask if she gonna come up and get a yes first. Danique, do you want to come up?
When they talk to BGS, they think they're talking to their
She
father.
said she's still at work.
Oh yeah, so I'll answer the question for you. Basically, I hate bringing up facts. Okay. In 1890 at the Mohawk Conference, they said black men did not need to learn how to read, but black women did. Okay. Black women should be educated, but black men were basically a beast of burden and field hands and manual laborers. That's all they needed to know. Okay. And basically, up until 1968, only 23% of black men ever graduated high school. And basically in 75%, even in poor blacks, who 75% of black women, black girls did. 75% of your valedictorians up till 1968 were always female. And this is okay. This has been okay with black women. Even now today, 75 to 80% of your black boys can't read at grade level, and you have control of them. Does that sound like you love your boys? 70% of your men are homeless. The biggest population of homeless people in the country are black men by 70%, right? A third, the biggest population of prisoners are your black men. The biggest group of people in poverty, and by percentage, are black men. And but we're here to you're here to tell us that you love us so much, really?
Right.
Where's that? Where do you do that at?
Exactly.
Where the love.
White women,
Yeah,
white women will elect a president that they do not like to get their men hired.
Facts.
That's why they voted for Donald Trump overwhelmingly by 50% of white women voted for Donald Trump because they needed their men to go to work. Where's that push by black women? You'd rather see that black men sleep on your couch underneath your foot rather than do something to get him educated and on the job and to advance. You want the guys, the kick-ass black men and black boys and all that kind of stuff, but you do nothing. I do mean nothing to encourage it. In fact, you do everything to suppress it. Why is that?
That insecure control.
Yeah,
they think they're better than us.
Yeah, they've always have. They've been taught that.
And that's their fundamental disadvantage and weakness versus all other women, because all other women know the greater potential in the tangible world is with their men.
Goddamn right.
All other women know that, and so they know that it is better for me to be a complement to making this man the very best he can be, and that will benefit all of us.
Exactly.
They think and behave the exact opposite way of that. They're better than us, so they want us to be down. They'll push us down to elevate themselves.
But with black women, I was looking at this video, and I forget the girl's name, right? And her belief of changing the black community is not structural. Basically, if black women basically be a little bit more feminine, put on some makeup, put on some heels, fucking good, then all of a sudden we get these kick-ass black men out of nowhere. And they forget about them 18 to 21 years that you did nothing for.
Right.
All of a sudden, I sprinkle some black girl magic on this dude. He's supposed to grow into a giant. Really? Where do you do that at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how superior she is.
Oh, okay.
She's so wonderful that, like you say, all I have to do is spread some of my vaginal black girl magic on this person, and like you say, he'll become a king.
He gonna sprout wings and start flying, huh?
Right.
What I'm saying is, I see people send me videos about black women saying this, and the thing is, the themes continue to come in. It's just like they're repeating the same thing over the last 50 years. Exact same thing. Do black women study other groups of women and see what they're doing to make their boys and their men successful? Do they really do that?
Do they even study history? Do they even study history to see that they're repeating the same mistakes?
We don't really. Can I say this? Because
go ahead.
Okay. I feel like black women don't. If some things have been inherent within us, and nobody has ever corrected the behavior, I feel like this is probably the first generation that's starting to demand to correct the behavior and to demand better things out of their women. So women haven't had an incentive, so to speak. We, of course, to be honest, the incentive has been there, but there wasn't a real incentive because our men have always been here, and we've relied on our men always being here.
Well, let me ask you a question, Sister George. This is, I'm not a woman, and I can't speak for them. Are black women really happy with the dysfunctional society that Black America is? I'm just curious.
In my honest opinion, yes.
They are. They are
That's
happy.
it. Well, then there's nothing really to say.
That's why SBM will take off and become bigger, and a couple of generations from now, will be a different people, because the bottom line is they rather rule in hell than serve in heaven.
Yeah.
But now let me say this: there are a lot of us who are still without men. So it's starting to become more of a wake up call. I'm noticing more women trying to get it together now. Personally, I know quite a few women are trying to get it together now.
Too late.
But it may be too late, but it's definitely a wake up call.
Give
Definitely
your sons to their fathers. Give your sons to their fathers.
It's not gonna happen.
The problem is a lot of
it's not gonna happen.
If black women just did that, collectively gave their sons to their fathers,
you know, Uru, there's one thing that I love about black women that is probably to their detriment. Okay, unlike other groups of women, black women will hold on to their their children. You had to pry them out of their cold dead hand, which is a good thing and it's a bad thing.
Who did I knock off by mistake? My apologies. I was trying to. God damn it!
You knocked off Danielle. You knocked off Sister.
I was trying to switch up to let y'all to let Kendra speak. Sister George, I'm gonna put the link back in the chat because I didn't fucked up. So Kendra, speak your piece.
Okay, so I was out. I've been kind of in and out because I was out, and I decided to check up on the stream. By the way, you doing some numbers, bro. What's good with the panel?
Hey, KD.
What's up, Kendra?
Hey, darling.
What's
How
up?
you doing, Kendra?
I'm taking heads in 2020, Kendra.
You know what?
The lightsaber is out. The
I'm taking
lightsaber.
away with you. Yeah, I don't got no mercy. It's done. It's a done deal.
Yoda's gone to the lightsaber, man.
Just forget it. You know, Dooku is in for it. All right, so just to answer the title question, are BWs narcissistic and arrogant? For the most part, I think many of them are. And there are only a few who aren't. And I think it's because of the culture. And this is why SYSBM is a thing, because other women are culturally more appealing than the American Black woman. We have a culture, obviously, in the West of feminism, which coddles the dysfunctions of women, doesn't call them to accountability, doesn't make them responsible for the consequences of decisions made. It upholds and gives a false sense of entitlement, which is where that narcissism comes from. It allows women to have this false sense of security economically and financially, where you can say, I don't need a man, and therefore the arrogance. Then you've got things in feminism that talk about you can't body shame, you can't this and that. So you don't even have women who don't even look good, who are really arrogant about their looks and who can't talk to them, and who, and that sort of thing. So we have a culture here in the West that supports and perpetuates these dysfunctions in women. And I think even though America as a whole has a feminist and a gynocentric leaning, my theory here is that American Black women are more susceptible to it because our culture is topsy turvy. We have a Black gynocracy because we don't set the culture, but neither do Asians when they come over. Neither do Arabs when they come over. They don't set American culture. However, they have a patriarchy. So the job of men, even though they aren't setting the culture, they filter it. And they filter out the parts that would corrupt their families and women. Because women aren't going to do it. We're just going to accept culture and perpetuate. But for the Black community, and I was actually going to do a show that explains why we're the best canary in the coal mine, is because our men, we don't have a patriarchy. So our men are not set in the position to filter all the harmful parts of a culture that they aren't quite setting to give to their women. We're at the top. And women aren't going to filter it. We're just going to accept the culture and perpetuate because that's what women do. And because we're already dysfunctional, that just exacerbates everything. Now, that's my personal theory on this, because we have plantation politics and it is a gynocracy. The women are at the top. We're at the seat of power, and we aren't going to filter out harmful parts of a culture. We simply are going to pass it all on, which is why we accept all social programming, the best out of every group. And you get to see how it's going to affect family just within a couple of generations with the Black populace versus the white populace or other immigrants or other cultures that come here. Are y'all following me? Is that making sense to everybody?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, just to go back and answer the question, yeah, I think we're definitely, many of us are narcissistic and arrogant due to the environment. Women can't self-correct. That's
Bingo.
another thing, because
That's
a lot of women can't self-correct, and our culture does not make a standard where the women have to adhere. Other cultures have a standard that the women have to adhere to in order to keep them in line. And it's the overarching program, right? It's even higher than the men of the society necessarily. The culture is set for a lot of different women coming from other places, and they don't want to be ostracized from their culture. Even when they come here to America, many of them don't want to be ostracized in what becomes their subculture. They don't want to be ostracized from their families and from their own communities due to bad behavior. The American-born Black woman doesn't have that. We don't have anything in our culture that holds our feet to the fire. So we get to sort of do what we want to do, but that's part of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was talking about early with respect to power and fear. You know, Black men not being able to really impose either of those upon Black women make it virtually impossible to compel them to, or inspire or motivate them to be the kind of helpmates we need. You know, so and I agree with Kendra. Women don't change or can't change in the ways that men can. They can't really self-reflect in the ways that men can. So when BGS was talking earlier about Black women changing, I don't. I think circumstances will compel them to do certain things or to mimic certain behavior, but I just don't see this grade of Black woman changing. I see her being replaced.
Um, if I may, and I agree with what you're saying about being replaced, but I want to make something really clear. Women in general, just the female species of the human family, have the capacity to self-reflect. We have the capacity to do all of that. The reason why we don't do it, especially within this culture, is because we are rewarded for just existing the way that we are. This is why a lot of women do not go past her teenage years emotionally and developmentally, as far as her mentality is concerned, because she receives rewards simply for being young and a female, and especially if she's good looking. So she already receives the things that a woman looks for as part of her validation. Uh, if if we had a society that didn't just reward women for just being women, but urged them and required them to be more, then you would have women who self-reflect. You would get women who had a deeper, emotional capacity, a deeper mental capacity, uh, a more adult developed sort of mentality and emotional intelligence. You would get that because we're capable of it. But as long as women receive an incentive not to grow past anything, because she doesn't have to, because she can get validation, she can get a man, she can get taken care of, she can get married, she can get all the stuff that women want simply by, she don't have to develop. All she has to do is be cute and, whatever else, and that's been acceptable for the long haul, because in generations past, the women had to be more. They had to be more, and she was more. She did have more emotional intelligence. She was able to gain wisdom and pass wisdom on. But now in this society, women aren't required to do that, so she's not going to do it. But we are capable.
Let me ask a question, Kendra. Do you think that enabling to, like you said, to be in that dysfunction, do you think that was strategically done to purposely destabilize the Black community?
Well, feminism was done to destabilize the entire family structure of everybody. But again, we're the canary in the coal mine, so we're going to go first.
So you agree that is a yes, it was strategically done to destabilize our family.
Of course it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people don't know that. I'm just doing that for the listeners so they can hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was strategically done. Feminism was strategically done to destabilize family structures, and I don't ever dismiss the reason why we're here. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I say also is, yeah, we've got some legit reasons why we're here, but we're adults, and at some point you got to take responsibility for not continuing to remain where you are.
Facts. Absolutely. Self-accountability, maturity, all that, right?
Definitely.
So, Kendra, in light of this whole SYSBM movement or direction things are going in amongst some Black men, at least, where do you see the future of Black people, a generation or so from now, assuming that this is something that grows in scale?
Where do I see Black people, like as a whole?
I guess you can speak to it from the standpoint of as a whole, but then also maybe in terms of factions and that type of thing.
I don't know. I'll probably have to give that question a little bit of thought. I don't know if I can shoot off the hip with an answer for that, because I do see SYSBM being something that is enduring. I don't see it as something that would be a fad. There will always be those, though, among the men who won't be able to accomplish SYSBM. So there's going to remain, at least probably for the next couple of generations, the effery, right? Because some of these women are still going to receive validation, because some men will have the intestinal fortitude and the resolve to stand their ground and have their standards and not accept anything less than their standards. But you also have a group of men who aren't able to stand their ground. So they're going to revert back to what they've been programmed with and deal with women who they probably shouldn't deal with. But I think what it'll do is break down into a situation where the men who can't enact SYSBM just won't be able to, and he'll be forced to deal with STRAG.
So you think it'll
Hold
create?
on for one second, Blackaroo. I'm sorry, but let me say this real quick. I asked this question because people been tripping about SYSBM for like a week or something, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Is there a fear that the SYSBM mindset is going to build a community that actually puts black men first?
Good question.
So, first BGS and Uru, y'all the grown men of the panel. So y'all go and then you got.
I might give an answer to that.
Hold on. Okay,
go. Let him answer it.
Okay, you got it.
Answer it. All the people first. All the people first. I give my answer last.
No. You answer. You said it. Answer the question. You're on the other side. Answer it.
Wait, what was the question again?
What he's basically saying, are the people that oppose SYSBM afraid of that black men are going to build a community where they put black men first? And since you're the representative of that side, go ahead and answer it, Chaos. Crickets.
Okay. Well,
I'll step in. The answer is yes. And really, what they're afraid of is not that black women put themselves first. The thing is that they know that black women can't change, and if we don't accept them the way they are, that they will find more appealing groups of women on someplace else. And once, because they don't mind us doing it, SYSBM doing it, what they want us not to do is encourage other men to follow suit. In other words, let the men that are asleep stay asleep. So we would retain a certain amount of men, because if they find out what the Z's are actually finding out is that we're getting treated better someplace else, and what is the natural human condition? You always want to go to a better environment, a better condition. That's what they're afraid of.
I also think they're afraid that the product of SYSBM will be greater and better than the product of the status quo. That the communities of SYSBM, where black men are allowed to maximize their potential, their intellect, their resources, that will be a formidable society indeed. The whole world is afraid to see that, including and maybe especially black women. Everyone knows our potential even greater than we do. But some of us, as to use the Matrix reference, are waking up and seeing the truth and seeing that they can be free and they can think free, and that if their minds are freer, then maybe I can maximize certain talents I have that don't necessarily jive with the black society, the gynocracy, but work damn well in this other community or this other society. It can make me very wealthy. It can make me very powerful. It can make me very happy. And they're damn afraid of that. Yeah. And it's not just black women that are afraid of that. The whole damn world is afraid of that.
I say that all the time, Maru. Everybody knows our potential better than us. Everybody. I agree 1,000%.
Yeah, the potential is scary to anybody that's opposing it, and just having that type of collective available, especially to youth and a lot of younger black generations that's coming up that may not necessarily have men in the family or men supporting them directly, but have access to those type of men, it'd be a complete game changer, and they definitely are aware of it.
Everybody spoke?
Waiting on you, big dog. Go ahead.
All right. I say in the future is a threat. Only time will tell. I would say no right now. But
Why?
I'll say this. It'll probably be a threat to those women that are quote unquote non-select or can't get a man. Yes, that might be a problem. for the woman that could get a man, particularly from the sisters, then they don't have to worry about this, because usually with some women that got like that, they got the options. That's how I see it.
Basically, 50% of your Z's are already marrying out. What about that? Or dating out. What about that, Chaos? And then they don't know anything about SYSBM. What about that?
Which one, the women?
I recently
I'm talking about the black boys.
I recently attended a 50th wedding anniversary party.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the Gen Z or the millennial guys there, most of them had non-black women. It was the weirdest thing, because I'm at this event to celebrate this great black couple who've been together for half a century, and yet all the young men there are with Latino and not just Mexican. I mean, it's weird. It's like Venezuelan and
Guatemala,
Costa Rica, and I'm like, where are these women even coming from in Chicago?
Yeah, you're in Chicago. Yeah.
And the what really shocked me were the Indian girls there. That really shocked me. Because I didn't even know, I'm old, so I didn't even know the young brothers were mixing with the Indian girls like that.
What do you think? Where do you think Kamala Harris came from?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I guess to kind of respond to Chaos, I mean, I guess if black women want to think that, if you think you're fine enough or whatever, you'll be able to get you a good man. That's not the trajectory that I'm seeing.
If I may, let me simplify it. Bottom line is, black men are looking for peace of mind. That's all. What's so great about us just wanting to have a goddamn peace of mind where we can think for a goddamn minute, figure out some shit, and then start conquering shit and building again. But we can't do all that without a goddamn peace of mind.
Just think about it. Okay, say if I was a millennial or Gen Z, I'm 20 years old, right? And I want to have a family, and I want to have sons. And I look at the statistics. If all the women in the world, who was the last group of women I put my son's hands into?
There's no way I would want to put my hands into a 20-some-year-old black woman. No way. And I say this rather sadly as the father of 2 adult black women.
I got 2 of them. This stuff is embedded in the culture. Okay, this is embedded. That's how come I know, and I know I raised my daughters. This is embedded. This is what they were taught by their women, and I've met some very, very nice, very sweet black women. And if you get to know them, it's still there. They do a better job of actually containing it, because they're cultured or socialized a certain way where they're not mean, they're not aggressive or anything like that. But even the best of women, it's still there.
Right. I got 3 of them, and it's still there.
It's still there. Go ahead.
No, you're right. Go ahead, BGS.
I'm saying it's I'm coming from a man that's never dated outside his race, that has two black daughters that are grown, and you just shake your head. It's like, okay. It is what it is. At a certain point, you got to throw up your hands. You know what? That it is what it is. And either one or two things: either black men are going to accept them as they are and deal with it, just like we've been dealing with it for like 200 years, or we're going to do something different. So that's why I'm not mad at brothers that do something different.
BGS, let me ask you this, BGS. I was thinking about this the other day. Do you think this issue we're at right now, because I know, like I tell people all the time, it's hard for people to think outside of the now. So most people can't think in the past and most people can't think ahead. Do you think this issue we're going through with black women, we've done this maybe 6 or 7 times before? Do you think this is the first time, or do you think we've had this type of uprising multiple times?
The thing is, black men have never had the power to actually have choice. Black men have never had choice in this country about who they dated. Okay, a black man in California in the 60s, he got prosecuted for marrying a Mexican girl. Okay, so in other words, black men have never really had choice. This is the first time in history where black men really have choice in who they mate and they date.
Let me just say something if I will, because we got and I'm going to pose this question to the women in the chat. I know a lot of you don't like the concept of SYSBM. Some of you may think that the men are doing something wrong, traitors or whatever, what have you. But here's the question that I want to pose to the ladies in the chat. If you don't like SYSBM, why aren't you willing to even hear why the other women that these men are looking at are more desirable than you are? And not your narrative about it, but why they really are. And I'm posing this question in terms of this, because just the other day I did a live stream where I was going point for point on a Sister Shahrazad Ali video, right? And in the comment section of her video, you had a host of Black women calling her a pick-me, that, her, what she was talking about was weak. And all she was talking about was being able to hold your feminine position, essentially. Not always being emasculating to your men, not always being somebody who speaks a negative language to him or acts negatively or gives him a negative experience of you. So if you don't like SYSBM, how do you not like that movement, but simultaneously feel that the position of femininity is weak? I mean, the guys can keep talking, but I just kind of want the ladies to answer this question in the chat if they can.
Kendra, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you think most Black women, I guess especially including the women in the chat, do you think that they think that Black men are collectively even worthy of them doing anything different?
Of course not.
Collectively,
Collectively,
because I think that pretty much answers your question. I mean, if they don't think that we're worthwhile to see differently or to do differently, then they're not going to, certainly not going to be motivated to do anything differently. Because in the end, it's not, in their minds, it's not cost beneficial for them to consider thinking differently or doing differently, because we're not worth the trouble.
And that may be so, but then they deny themselves these so-called other men that they think they can get to. So I'm not even so much as, I see what you're saying, and we kind of all know that there's a running contempt for Black men and these sorts of things, because this is why we're here. This is why the men are here. This is why they're saying SYSBM. It's a reason for that. And so we know that there's a reason for that. But at the same time, I just wanted to gauge what their thinking really was on that. Because if you ask them individually if they think Black men are worth it, they'll say yeah.
But it will not in any way be reflected in their behavior. So yeah, they'll say the right words at the right time to look good, to appear to be right.
Always.
But in the end, their behavior, even their own body language, will betray them.
Yeah, he's like I said, I always point to Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. You can see by her body language.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she would. But notice her body language around George W. Bush. Notice her behavior around George W. Bush.
Yeah,
you would almost think they were fucking.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on for 1 second, y'all. Somebody just put in the chat that Shahrazad Ali is going to be on Profit of Thought in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I was just looking for that right now. I was like, shit, I gotta go. Right.
Yeah, what I was about to say was,
whoa,
we can all disperse because this is the shit we talking about, and she was one of the persons that set off this years ago. So I'm not finna get in the way of that at all.
All right.
Yeah, we all need to be there.
Hey, L.A.R.
Yeah.
That means she's come out with a new book then, if she's been popping up back in the scene.
Well,
Not
guess what?
necessarily.
Stop hating, Chaos.
I'll be on Amazon buying that shit if
That's
that's
right.
the case.
Goddamn right.
Yeah.
So
Goddamn right.
thank everybody for coming. Hold
All right.
on.
Salute, L.A.R. Salute, my brethren.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro.
Salute to all y'all. I didn't expect this at all. So
All right.
let's go check out Shahrazad Ali.
Yes.
And I'm gonna go get some shrimp fried rice. BGS, you know what it is.
Hey, can somebody drop the link?
You ain't get it, L.A.R. You ain't-
96 say BGS.
Drop the link in the chat room.
Yeah. Peace, y'all.
All right, peace.
Later.
Yeah. L.A.R.